it's the same thing with Epstein's list. It's like, what the hell are these Republicans doing? Oh,
I saw you
give out the list.
I saw you make news this morning about that. I got to get to that.
Yeah.
You say that the FBI has Epstein's list. They're sitting on it. That doesn't seem like something you should do. You're protecting the world's foremost predator. That seems like an evil thing to do, regardless of who may be embarrassed in the release of that list. Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list. You don't think that Bill Gates is lobbying Congress night and day to prevent the disclosure of that list? And why is it that the Senate, and good for Senator Blackburn to try to get it out, but then Dick Durbin comes over the top and says, no, we're not going to release the names. I don't care about the list itself, but if release the names, right? What the hell are the House Republicans doing? They have the majority. You can't get the list? You're going to accept Dick Durbin's word or whoever that guy is as to who is on that list and who isn't, and that it can and can't be released? Put on your big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are. We have an election coming up, and we need to adjudicate this matter at the polls. God knows the FBI and DOJ aren't going to do anything, but how?
Yeah, Cash. Put on your big boy pants. Release the list. Release the list. Not letting it go. Ever. Welcome to Faith, Fiction, and Folklore, or as we like to call it, the Triad Podcast, where we try not to mess the podcast up, which we've done once already. And I mean royally effed it up. That's about 45 minutes where somebody was going, why isn't Gary talking? Or that weird guy in the blazer talking.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
all is well, though. I think we'll do a better job this time.
Oh, yeah.
I sneezed. I think I'm allergic to bullshit.
You're allergic to optimism. That's what it is.
No, Kash Patel, man.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yes.
He's like, why doesn't the CIA release this document? And he's like, well, the Senate. It's like, no. Why doesn't the CIA release this? Well, the Senate. It's like, we're not communicating here.
Yes, it's almost like...
And also, I want to note, he's wearing a shirt with his name on it. How ridiculous.
One might say that was a tell. Looking back on it, it's like, maybe he was just marketing the whole time. Hey, but I was the first one to get bamboozled. Like, I was all for this guy before this debacle, so... Yeah. Joke's on me. Never trust a guy with his own name on his shirt.
Right.
So... Anyway,
you just expect the most out of people, I guess.
I'm a sunshiny optimist. So what
Thanks,
can I
Jess.
say? Yeah.
You sound good too.
Thank you, Jess. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
All right. Never mind.
All right. Well, after the first abysmal failure, let's go over what's going to be on this show tonight, if we can get through it. So we're starting out with a book that I spent the whole week reading, which is really the main reason we're going through this again, because I couldn't bear to do a whole week's worth of reading and then not even do a show on that. That was too painful. But we're going to be we're going to do a book review of Laura Delano's book called, if I can pull it up on Amazon, Unshrunk. So the book is called Unshrunk: A Story of Psychiatric Treatment Resistance. So, I really liked this book quite a bit, and I think people should give it a read. Now, she is very anti-God, which annoys me, and I wasn't a big fan of the end of the book, but I was a little sympathetic because I kind of understood why. Basically, after she was kind of... The reason that she was basically run through the ringer or run through the psychiatric system the way that she was is because she trusted authority. She blindly trusted authority, and those people betrayed her by doping her up for years on end. And so she's a little hostile to any sort of authority whatsoever. And I don't like it, but I kind of empathize with it. And I think the book is very valuable for people to read because it basically details what somebody who goes through all those treatments, what their experience is, because you hear about this stuff on statistics, like so many people had bad reactions to psychiatric drugs or blah blah blah, and they're just numbers. But when you actually hear somebody's account and they actually go into detail, then you get a real true, in-depth, better understanding of why these drugs are a problem, why SSRIs are a problem, why the chemical theory regarding depression is a problem. So yeah, I think getting invested in a person's story is probably one of the best ways to articulate the issue. So I highly recommend this book, and let me read this blurb here. An unsparing account. What makes Unshrunk so valuable is not that Miss Delano's mental health struggles are unusual, just the opposite. Her experience is depressingly commonplace in the 21st century America, as are the solutions she was offered. Yet only rarely are these struggles described with such insight and self-awareness. That's Carl Elliott from the Wall Street Journal. So I highly recommend this book, just to kind of, I guess, advertise for it a little bit. She did an interview with Tucker Carlson, and we've got a segment here where she talks about the side effects of SSRIs, and we will jump into that. Unless, Cody, you have any thoughts on the subject?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, well, we'll just jump right into it then.
Cool, man.
So mysterious to us how it works, and to think that, you know, we're going to put in this synthetic psychoactive chemical. We're going to put it into your body. It's going to course through your bloodstream potentially for the rest of your life. To be so disregarding of what the long-term consequences of that might be, especially when you're putting a kid on this, it's one of the most horrible crises of our time, I think. Because to return to your question, you know, besides the antidepressants and the mood stabilizers, they're the antipsychotics, you know, Risperdal, Seroquel, Zyprexa, Geodon. There are, of course, the anti-anxiety drugs, the benzodiazepines, Klonopin, Valium, Ativan. And there are the stimulants, the so-called ADHD drugs like Ritalin, Adderall, and then the sleep aids like Ambien and Lunesta. So those are that's the family, the psychiatric drug family.
Can we go? Okay, so can we?
Okay, I want to stop here because this is where we stopped last time. In one of the books that she recommends, Robert Whitaker's The Anatomy of an Epidemic, he talks about how kids as young as 4 are being put on these kinds of medications. They're being put on like bipolar disorder medications. 4-year-olds. From what I understand, the brain doesn't finish developing until 26, and yet we're putting people on psychiatric drugs before their brains have even finished developing. In fact, we're diagnosing kids with lifelong diseases before their brains have finished developing. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I would also recommend this book here, The Anatomy of an Epidemic, because Laura Delano recommends the book. This is one of those books that she cites. Anatomy of an Epidemic, Magic Bullets, Psychiatric Drugs, and the Astonishing Rise of Mental Illness in America. This is by Robert Whitaker. So basically, he asks a very interesting question. He asks, well, if science is progressing in America, then why are there more issues with mental health than there have ever been?
Because science is progressing in America.
Exactly. Could it be that the pills are causing it? No. Shut up. We got to make that money.
Shh. Start at the beginning, if you don't mind. So the antidepressants. So that would include SSRIs, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. So you were put on that immediately. What is the effect of that on you?
Well, it's such a complicated question to answer because in hindsight, I can see all the effects. But at the time when I was on them, I didn't notice the effects. It was subtle. It was, in some cases, gradual. So when I look back now at how my life, the different path that psychiatric drugs set me down, I can see that they altered my body physically. So, and not just I mean, I couldn't answer what antidepressants specifically did. So for me, what the drugs did generally, whichever ones did what, I couldn't say, but they interfered with my basic bodily functions. So I pretty quickly began to have digestive issues. You know, you don't get told that it's like 90 to 95% of your serotonin receptors are in your gut.
Picture the house of your dreams. Maybe it's got an outdoor
we gotta do
pool, a
this again.
huge front
we gotta do
porch,
it again.
an inviting fireplace for a cold winter's night, no matter what.
Apparently, we really like Tucker Carlson.
Yes. Well, Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers has the rule, and I have to abide by the rule, I think. If we're going to borrow somebody else's content, we got to listen to their read-through. It's only fair.
I don't typically take rules from people I've never heard of.
Well, either way, we're going to grind our teeth and have integrity, I guess. So.
What you prefer, there's little doubt that an American flag waving out front enhances the whole thing. What better way to welcome your guests than with a flag outside your home? But wait, there's a problem. The American flags you're likely to buy at some big stores were made in China. An American flag made in China? Come on. Pure Talk, America's wireless company, believes every...
China.
Millions.
Chinese virus.
American deserves an American flag that was made in America. And that's why they're determined to give an allegiance flag, the highest quality American flag, to 1,000 veterans in time for summer. Pure Talk is using a portion of this month's sales to honor Flag Day and provide these American flags to American veterans. With plans from just $25 a month for unlimited talk, text, plenty of data, you can enjoy America's most dependable 5G network while cutting your cell phone bill in half, for real.
Ooh.
Go to puretalk.com/Tucker to support veterans and to switch to America's company, wireless from Pure Talk. So the point of these...
Huh?
Cutting my cell phone bill in half, you say?
Yes.
Mm.
I don't know if we're ever going to get to a point where we could even do read-throughs, but I don't know how people do it. It just seems very, very soul-sucking. But you know what?
Yeah.
More power to other people. I just don't know if I could ever do it. So,
I don't know.
But hey, if somebody gives me a big check, I don't know. I might find out I'm incredibly morally flexible. Who knows? So, we'll have to wait till the temptation knocks on the door, I guess. I don't know.
Drugs is to regulate or affect or disrupt, but change your serotonin levels.
That's the crude way that we understand them so far. So they obviously act. So an SSRI is selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor. So it's named as a serotonergic drug so that it primarily acts on the serotonin system. It acts on many other systems too, because it's all interconnected. The human body cannot be compartmentalized. But the serotonin system...
And as we talked about last time, this is one of the fatal flaws of the whole methodology. What Robert Whitaker in that book, Anatomy of an Epidemic, goes through is the magic bullet theory, which we talked about earlier. Basically, when they first started coming up with medicines for different diseases, they had this idea of being able to kill a particular disease without affecting the other cells, because originally it was kind of thought if you stick something in the body to basically poison a particular microbe or whatever, you can't really do that without killing the body itself as well, right? Like you end up taking out both at once, kind of like what chemo does of cancer. Mm-hmm. Well, some people thought that wasn't true. They thought that you could target, when it came to diseases, you could target, you could target them with specific chemicals. And that turned out to work in the case of physical diseases. So what they wound up doing is applying the same methodology to mental diseases. But the problem is the human brain is interconnected with other systems in the body. For example, your gut. So you can't really do this whole magic bullet thing with an interconnected system, at least not very effectively. So it's kind of built on this paradigm that, and again, the timing, it's a kind of an evolutionary paradigm that essentially the human body is like building blocks. You've got simple to more complex systems, but that's not how the human body or nature or anything really works. It's really a Gordian knot, a bunch of interconnected nerve endings and tendons and everything else. Like everything's dependent on everything else, which is why the neo-Darwinian chance mechanism for evolution doesn't work, because you can't just have one mutation create isolated changes in one area and not expect it to affect everything else in some way. Anyway, so the bottom line is the magic bullet approach when it came to like mental diseases just isn't effective. not in the same way that it's effective against physical diseases. So, Mr.
But
Cody,
it's what's called for.
I'm sorry.
The people want it. The people want the magic bullet. We talked about earlier how nobody heard it because we suck.
Because I suck. I'm the producer. I suck. So,
but like when you go to the doctor, you're not answering honestly on how many drinks you've had that week, right? So you're always going to hide the thing that's killing you from your doctor, because you don't want to handle the pain, like we talked about earlier. You want to numb the pain and not acknowledge it, and then so you have to have this magic bullet to come in and make you feel better, but you're actually not better because you won't deal with the problem at hand.
Right. Well, think about how dreary that worldview must be, because for them it's
I've been there. It's terrible.
Yeah. Well, in their worldview, your thoughts aren't your thoughts. It's just chemicals. It's all just chemicals. Yeah. So nothing's real. Everything's inherently biological. One of the accounts that she gives in her book is when she's given a speech to a bunch of psychologists. She says, one of the scientists challenges her by saying, we are biological beings. And therefore, since we are biological beings, our problems must be biological. There's no acknowledgement of the soul, no acknowledgement of an inner life, no acknowledgement of anything outside of the body. Yeah. Yeah, we're a mixture. We're a hybrid. We're both biological and we're spiritual. And so there's an interplay between those two forces. But in their worldview, it's just biology. So if you can just get the witch's brew of brain chemistry just right, then you can fix somebody. But of course, this is one of the other points is normal is really just a setting on a washing machine. There is no actual, like, quote unquote, normal scan of a regular human brain. That doesn't exist. Nobody knows what like a proper brain is supposed to look like. So how are you supposed to create the right chemical concoction to artificially put together the correct human brain? It can't do it. We don't even know what it is. So how could you do it? So,
Yep, but they tell you they treat your brain with chemicals.
Right, exactly.
Through your stomach.
Through your stomach.
Oddly.
Through your stomach. Swallow this, yes. And then they try to, or they'll give you electroshock and then cause you to have seizures. And it's like, well, I guess we fixed him. It's just horrid. Anyway, moving on.
Besides being, largely responsible for how your gut functions, it also, muscle function. They're like basic primal, if I'm remembering correctly, I think it's the serotonin system that regulates like temperature, vomiting reflex. Like it's really primal. This is not just about happy chemicals.
Right.
And so when you're taking an SSRI or an SNRI, any of these serotonergic drugs, it's not just acting on the brain, it's acting on the whole body. And so a lot of people, myself included, will get diagnoses of irritable bowel syndrome, or, they'll have other kinds of digestive issues while they're on these drugs. Sometimes it starts quickly, sometimes it takes a while, but it doesn't occur to you because we're not wired, we're not programmed to question medical treatments generally. At least I wasn't. And so as my physical issues accumulated, I just assumed I was just, because I'm so mentally ill, I'm not taking good care of myself. I'm eating shitty food.
It's your fault.
Exactly. And besides digestive issues.
That was the other point. This is the part where we realized we had a problem. So let me, I guess, continue on this thought. This is the other strategy they use. Whenever it doesn't work, it's just like dieting. Like I'm having flashbacks of like when I was trying to lose a bunch of weight. Because I used to be like 224 pounds and I lost like 70 pounds. But before that, or 68, but before that, what you would always hear from the coaches is, it's your fault. You're not doing enough. You're not doing enough. Mm-hmm. You don't know what you're supposed to be doing, but you're not doing enough. You don't understand how weight loss works, but you're not doing enough. You're the problem. It's not a bad information or a lack of information or something you're missing. No, you're the problem because you're just not diligent. And it's the same thing here. It's like, it's not that the pills are making you vomit. You're just not diligent enough. You're not doing the work. And so they just blame you, even as your symptoms, physical and mental, progress.
Yeah. They're putting their diligence somewhere else, though. They're like sneaking a Twinkie every couple hours, out of their purse. And, that Twinkie's what's killing them.
Well, for these
That
people,
repetition, that ritual.
For these people, it's literally the pills. Like, it starts out with...
Yeah, the pills will kill you.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, well, it starts out with, like, basically behavioral issues. You know what I mean? Like, they'll equivocate some kid not paying attention with ADHD,
But it's because he's eating bags of candy every day. Like...
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it's like, it's another cause. It's environment. Well, like, I've told this story before, I think, on the podcast, but, I've had teachers. I guess I should be vague so as not to embarrass anybody. But in the teaching world, autism is becoming an increasingly popular diagnosis.
Vaccine.
Right. Yeah. Vaccine, maybe. Yeah, possibly. You mean the jibby jab that shall not be named? So,
all those.
All the jibby jabs. But anyway, in one case in particular, the kid wasn't paying attention because of a tablet, and once the tablet was removed, the behavior improved. But the teachers were screaming their heads off about autism,
Really?
Yeah. And
so they just don't even know what autism is.
Well, they broadened the definition because that certain jibby jab that shall not be named, or all the jibby jabs that shall not be named, they're causing it. The medical companies know they're causing it. So, and this is Robert Barnes' take, and I happen to agree with him. What the medical companies are doing is they're trying to normalize autism. And so they've broadened the definition of the term. Like when you and I were kids, autism was like rocking in the chair, screaming, completely.
Pretty extreme.
Yeah, pretty extreme, unable to communicate. That's not what it means anymore. Autism is more closely aligned with like ADHD now. Like it's that broad. And so they're over-diagnosing so as to normalize autism in and of itself. So parents don't go, well, wait a minute. Everything was fine until this jibby jab. Maybe I should sue a certain company that gave me the jibby jab. And they're going, no,
you can't because they have vaccine immunity.
Right. You can't blame us. This is normal. See? So it's just, nefarious companies trying to dodge a bullet. Yeah. But in the case of ADHD, for example, they would sit there and they, back in the 90s, they would, say a kid was hyperactive or whatever. They'd give them Ritalin or some other drug.
They still do.
Yeah. And then that drug caused symptoms that were similar through the DSMs. Yeah.
It's like, wait, what? Ritalin is one carbon atom away from meth, and you give it to kids, and it makes them little psychopaths? Weird.
Shush, shut up. Now, and what happens after they give them this chemical? They start displaying symptoms of bipolar. And they're going, oh my goodness, your kid is bipolar. Who knew? Here's another drug. What? Your kid can't sleep now? That is so shocking. Your kid is really messed up. Here's some anti-sleeping medication. What? He's sleeping too much. Yeah. They're pushers. It's almost like they're pushers. It's weird. Only instead of advertising to the kids, they're advertising to the parents. And it's all okay because...
You want to avoid your responsibility as a parent and quiet your kid down and still feed him crap so he won't throw a fit? Here's some meth.
Oh, you mean your kids misbehaved because you didn't spank them? Here's some meth. But we're not supposed to say that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, anyway... So yeah, that's the game now. It's like you just make somebody sicker and sicker, and you create permanent patients. It's a wonderful economic model. Wonderful.
Yeah.
So
it is.
Anyway,
it's kind of sad. I'm depressed. I'm gonna go to bed now.
Well, you need a pill. Don't forget.
I need some meth.
Yes, you need some meth, and then you need another like Zoloft or something to get down from the meth. It's all got to be balanced. You just get that stew right, Cody.
Yeah.
So
you gotta get possessed by the correct amount of demons.
Sure. Demons, chemicals. Yeah, it's probably all the same.
It is.
we'll have to explore this, but another folklore topic is there's some people that say there's like some correlation between demons and meth. Like meth is like equivocated with sorcery. I don't know how that
totally
works.
get behind that. I mean, the Nazis used it. They were into all that esoteric shit. So I'm sure it's been around forever, dude.
Yeah, I've seen like books about it in like church and stuff, but I have no idea what it is because I haven't actually read those books. But that's, even if that's not true, it's like, you know, the idea is though, you're not you because you're taking all this stuff and who knows what it's doing to you. So
I've never done it, but I've heard that it's the fastest route to demon possession. Like it's like you know that Bible verse that talks about whenever you get rid of the demons and the house is swept clean. It's like meth cleans the house and invites the demons in.
I don't know if it's demons. Like, if I'm being serious, like, the problem is, of course, we don't know what exactly causes schizophrenia either, but meth very much mimics schizophrenia because it's basically synthetic dopamine. So your body gets flooded.
Okay.
Yeah, so your body gets flooded with a synthetic dopamine, then those receptors get turned off, and yeah, it causes like those rushes, and so that's why you get the hallucinations and the voices and everything like that. So it's literally, well, it's like anything. It's like if you take too much of something, be it a steroid or regular drugs or these drugs that we're talking about here, your body shuts off its own production of those things to keep homeostasis. So, you know, that's why you have to be very careful with getting off of meth and like taper off of it, because some people have been known to go nuts just trying to get off the stuff cold turkey. That doesn't happen in every case, but it's been known to happen. And so, but yeah, and again, it's because your body is no longer producing dopamine at all because you've been on meth for so long. So it's just, so
I've heard it's like with meth, like you only see, like you say hallucinations, that's a super broad term. Like with meth, people only see shadow people and the green-eyed demons. Like that's it.
I heard tree people. Tree people was the one
I think
around
that's
here
the
in
same
2010.
as shadow people, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't think so, but yeah, I've heard.
I mean, are you talking about an int, like off of Lord of the Rings?
They never went into detail. They would talk about seeing people in the trees.
Yeah, that's shadows. Shadow people.
Okay, well maybe they didn't describe them as such, but you could be right.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just going off what you're saying. But.
Yeah, well, when I was in the addictions, when I was training to be an addictions counselor, I didn't finish it, but whenever I was in that course, they taught. Yeah, the addicts would talk about seeing people in the trees. One guy described like intense paranoia. You know, he was like convinced that the cops are going to realize he was growing pot in his backyard. So he literally hung fishing lures on the pot and painted them up like tomatoes. You know, yeah, stuff like that.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, stuff like that. So,
yeah.
But
I've seen a few cars that like tweakers mess with. It's pretty funny.
it's the guy that told me that story about the tomatoes. He was a really good guy. I would consider his story a miracle. But he basically he survived a meth explosion, and because of the explosion, he got off the drug. But and as he was recounting the tale, though, one of the disheartening things he said, though, and it kind of ties into this actually, is he talked about how it's a money racket. Like even the cops are in on it. They're basically busting people, then selling the meth that they've busted. You know, a lot of them, like there's just like this give and take. Like it's a whole industry, and people make a lot of money off it, including the CIA. But anyway, and the purple. So, yeah, it's just.
So I kind of see meth as like everything puts you in a different vibrational state. So think about like magnetism. So when you take meth, like say you're vibrating at 100, okay, just a random number. Okay, so you got like you can vibrate at 20, or your homeostasis, as you would say, would be like 100. So you can like during prayer when you're like meditated, connecting with the Lord, you know, having your shower thoughts, you know, you're at like 110, 115, somewhere in there. Jesus was at like 150. When you take meth, you're at like 6. And so you're attracting those negatively vibrating entities. So like you're a magnet for shit.
I mean, I don't think
that's kind of how I see it.
What I know about it is it's basically, it's literally just like any other. It doesn't matter for steroids. It doesn't matter what it is. Your body produces a certain amount of stuff. And when you flood it with artificial stuff, your body stops making it. And then your body
but
takes
those
a while.
Are all self-contained.
Well, they're not, though. That's kind of the problem. It affects all parts of you, you know. And
okay, so you're like saying like steroids affects your mood as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, okay. It affects your mood. It affects your, downstairs. It affects everything.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it goes through, because it's all like you said. It's the gut. Gut's kind of an epicenter for all those different functions. Everything that gets broken down in there and sent to different parts of the body. So yeah, all those systems are interconnected. They kind of affect everything, and then you experience very harsh symptoms whenever you try to get off of them. Mm-hmm. And this is the thing, though. And this is the point that she brings up in her book. They don't exactly. Well, whenever people start having adverse reactions from getting off of the drug, they don't call it withdrawal symptoms. That's the real tragedy of it. See, whenever you get off the stuff and you start getting really sick, they go, "Oh, well, of course you're really sick. You're no longer taking your meds. You need to get back on them."
I've seen that in real life, man. Like,
yeah,
it's like ultimate gaslighting. It's terrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, gaslighting is a perfect word for it. Exactly. So, let's see. We're going to skip ahead here towards the end.
Hopefully we get another commercial about American flags and boner pills or whatever it was.
You will be a patriot before the end of the night. So let's hear her account of getting off of, or getting away from psychiatry. Let's see. We'll hear about that, and then we'll call it good.
What was lost.
Yeah, well, and our life expectancy is dropping.
Well, I'm aware. I'm highly
you don't
aware.
Even have that.
Okay, so I got two.
Just to elaborate on that point, yes, all of our life expectancies are dropping because science is progressing.
More big questions for you. The first is, how did you go from being like damaged to the point of attempting suicide repeatedly, like the most damage you can be and still be alive, to being someone with, I can say, having interviewed thousands of people, a person of unusual wisdom, truly unusual wisdom? How did that happen? Like, what was the moment where you set upon the path of liberation?
Well, I think so. My turning point when I realized like this industry doesn't have my answers happened when I was 27. It was 2010. Just months of just unfolding dysfunction and craziness, and I found myself in a substance abuse day program because I had decided to quit drinking, specifically because I had been convinced that maybe the reason why all these meds weren't helping me was because I was getting shit-faced every night. And if I...
Wait, so the booze was getting in the way of the pills?
Yeah. I mean, they were making, which was true. Yes, this is true. The booze was complicating things. But of course, the booze was also what was keeping me alive. Like, ironically, getting drunk was the one thing that kept me from killing myself for literally years, because at least I didn't care how messed up my life was. So I had been very resistant to quitting drinking for that reason.
So again, let's absorb the irony of that. She was self-medicating from her medication. So she's insane.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So she self-medicates, the doctors medicate her because she's self-medicating.
Mm-hmm. It's like a vicious cycle. It just grows and grows and grows.
On what ended up being my second to last hospitalization, just for whatever reason, I heard this message from a mental health worker about maybe try not drinking. And I think because I was still holding on to...
Just a thought. Yeah, gotcha. And I don't want to be too harsh, because it's like, look, you don't, like, you have to understand from her perspective. It's like she's taught this is the truth. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
This is the way out. And if this can't help me, nothing can help me. So what choice does she have but the alcohol? From our point of view, it's like, well, psychiatrists are idiots. Why are you trusting them? But we've been blessed with a deep-seated contempt of authority. She wasn't, you know? And so if these people are the priestly class and the priests can't help you, what else is there but other drugs?
God.
So, yeah, but you see, the priests are God now. The psychiatrists are God now. It's all biology. You're just a bunch of chemicals slapped together in some goo. It's fine.
What are they? A cosmic soup or some crap like that?
Primordial soup.
Yeah.
Yep.
I hope that maybe the meds would one day help me. I was like, okay, because maybe he's right. If I stop drinking, my super treatment-resistant bipolar disorder, like maybe now it will be treated. So I was in this substance abuse day program. I was living with my aunt and uncle who had generously offered up their home to me. And the psychopharmacologist on my 5-person treatment team kind of caught wind that I was like having a hard time and maybe becoming suicidal, which I was. And he was like, you know what, Laura, why don't you take a break? Like, why don't you go over to the short-term unit and just, so you can feel safe. And I was like, you're right. I wanted to go. I was so afraid of myself that I loved going onto psych wards because it was the only place where I felt safe for myself. So I was like into it. I loved it. So I was like, great idea. I just want to go home first. Let me get my belongings. It's just not fun going onto a locked ward without anything, like any of your comforting possessions. And he's like, oh, I can't let you do that. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, you're suicidal right now, so I have to take you directly there. I can't let you leave. And I was like, I just told you I want to go. Like, I'm coming back. I really mean it. And I meant that. I was. He's like, I'm sorry. And something in me, it kind of really outraged, it ignited in me. And I was like, this isn't fair. Like, I'm coming back. And I started to raise my voice and I started to get more angry. He ended up calling security, and a couple of security guards came on by and they escorted me over to this unit, and they gave me the so-called choice of going voluntarily or involuntarily.
Well, this progressed quickly, didn't it?
Oh my gosh. In a matter of, 15 minutes. And never in my wildest dreams had I ever considered that I might once be faced with this kind of situation, because I had been this good little mental patient for so many years, doing everything my doctor said, always saying yes, taking my meds as prescribed. It's like so diligent and good at what I was doing as a patient. And now here I was, non-compliant. And that recognition that my psychiatrist had the power to strip me of my civil liberties and incarcerate me on a unit, stripping me of my right to fresh air and freedom, dislodged this deep, deep faith that I had always had. Not at the very beginning, but from age 18 on, that I had in this system. And I had 2 more experiences like that where I was, made to take a drug that I didn't want to take. And then after I had been discharged from that, what would be my last hospitalization, I slept through a therapy appointment because I was so tranquilized by that drug. And my therapist called the cops to do a wellness check on me, which I talk about in the book. Those 3 experiences with basically the power that psychiatry has to force you to do things you don't want to do made me step back and just start questioning all of it. And it was in that questioning space and the fact that I had quit drinking, I hadn't yet found AA. So I was really fucking miserable because I just stopped. I removed the one thing that I had for relief without doing any work on myself. So I was really, really miserable. But in that space opened up this new...
Waiting for docs to write themselves?
Nope.
Here's the secret to getting
Absolutely
words
not.
down without losing momentum.
Curiosity, who would I be off of these meds? I've been on these meds since I was a kid. I've never known myself as an adult off meds? Like, what would my baseline look like?
And we're going to cut it off there.
I bet her brain's the size of a walnut. No offense, obviously, but
Well, she was put on this stuff when she in her teens.
I'm not blaming her. I'm just saying it.
First diagnosed with her in her teens, yeah. It's a really sad story, but she does get out of it.
Yeah.
So, if
so I have a question.
Yes.
Her name's something Delano.
Laura Delano.
Okay, what did she do before this? Because she had a 5-person team therapy staff. Like, what? How much money does this chick have already?
Her parents were well off. She didn't have a 5-person team medical staff. She was going in and out of psych wards for years. And, yeah, her parents had basically paid for her therapy for forever. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
So they were substantiating the problem.
I don't know. Because it's like, again, this is the paradigm of people who believe in that stuff. You know, they didn't think there was another way. And these aren't...
I mean, you can't protect, like, people with addictions, like, especially drinking, like, you can't protect them. It's enabling.
Her
Like,
issues...
if you take care of them, it just enables them.
Well,
like,
her
you have
issues
to throw
didn't...
them out on their ass.
Her issues didn't start with the drinking. Her issues started with a kind of a, I guess you would call it a panic attack when she was a teenager. The drinking, I think, after reading the book, is basically a result of her being miserable, partially because of meds she was on or because she thought she was bipolar. She'd had the seed planted in her head, and that had given her an excuse. The way she puts it is, you know...
She identified with the bipolar
She started
disorder.
identifying with the bipolar disorder. That gave her an out for bad behavior.
Yeah.
Which is actually, that is actually something the lady that was my professor in that class, that addictions class, warned about. She said you have to be very careful with these DSM diagnoses because people will they'll start going, I'm bipolar.
Yeah.
I'm this, I'm that. And the goal stops being getting better. The goal starts becoming part of this special class of people. And that just keeps them in the system, and you have to avoid it. You have to avoid that, and you have to work with people to make sure they avoid that outcome. But, you know, not all these psychiatrists and psychologists were as perceptive as my professor. So,
Yeah.
you know, they kind of indulge the identifying with the mental illness.
I mean, I think identity is like the core of all problems.
There might be some truth to that, Cody.
Like even
I think you
Jesus
might be
said,
right.
like what I was saying earlier with this, how you do things ritually. Like if you eat 2 Twinkies out of your purse and don't tell anybody every day, like you're identifying as a Twinkie eater, you know, because you've made it a ritual, and the guilt from that is what hurts you. And like Jesus, he was very much against Christianity wasn't even a thing when Jesus was around, right? You get all these people wanting to identify as Christians. Why? So, like, it's the identity.
I don't know if I would apply it to everything. I do think that you're right in the sense that our culture is way too obsessed with things like finding yourself, which I always thought was like the stupidest statement in the world. I never even understood what it meant. It was like, find myself. Well, I'll just look in the mirror. Like, what are you talking about? Finding myself. I mean, I don't know what that means exactly. I mean, I'm just Gary. How would I know if I was anything else? You know, it never, the setup, the paradigm never made any sense to me. But a lot of people will sit there and go, well, I've got to find myself, which what that translates into is I got to find the clique I fit into. And so they'll start going, well, I'm a goth. I'm gay. I'm this. I'm that. Yeah, it's an excuse to indulge tribalism.
Yeah, it's the sound of silence. It's like your echo chamber, you know, like I'm part of this group and that's my identity. That's what I identify as.
And it becomes an excuse for bad behavior. I can do this because I'm them and they're them. You know, they're the they, the mysterious they, or the mysterious other, or whatever. You know, tribalism.
Sure.
So, anyway, yeah.
Indeed.
So before we wrap up, I want to go back and recommend her book. So the book is Unshrunk, A Story of Psychiatric Treatment Resistance by Laura Delano. Highly recommend it. And the other books that I wanted to recommend on this topic is Anatomy of an Epidemic, Magic Bullets, Psychiatric Drugs, and The Astonishing Rise of Mental Illness in America by Richard Whittaker. This is one of the books that she cites, and I've started it, haven't finished it, but I'm enjoying it so far. And then we've talked about this book before, The Amazing Journey into the Psychotic Mind. Breaking the Spell of the Ivory Tower by Jerry Marzinski and Sherry Sweeney. This goes into the question of whether or not schizophrenia is what we think it is. So, I highly recommend those 3 books. And you might be asking yourself, why in the world these people are able to get away with this? How can they sit there and have these fake trials? We talked about, I think, in the previous version of this podcast, we talked about how the definition of even a placebo has changed from basically being sugar water to the prior vaccine. So they changed things legally, so hoping that you don't notice. Well, how are they able to get away with this kinds of trickery? Well, if you look at the way that they lobby, this is for the year 2025. So far, the pharmaceutical industry has spent $120 million just on lobbying, boys and girls.
Let's see what Jeremiah said.
Yeah.
Jeremiah's in the chat. He said, and they were first called Christians in Antioch, Acts 11. Christian just means little Christs. It began as a pejorative, but it was embraced by believers because, in a sense, little Christ are what we're supposed to be.
He is absolutely right.
Yeah,
that is correct.
Sure, but Jesus wouldn't identify with a group, is the point I was trying to make. He was very against groupthink.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. But we're supposed to... The point is we're supposed to have our identity in God. We're supposed to have our identity in Christ. We're supposed to be trying to become like Christ, you know?
Yeah, we're nothing but a conduit for God's will, right?
Well, we're supposed to do the right thing. Try to do the right thing. Try to be better people. We know what right and wrong is. We know what morality is, and we know what a good person, generically speaking, is supposed to be like, and we're supposed to strive for that. We're supposed to be like Christ.
Because what's your definition of a good person? Because then you're
to be like Christ, which means reading the Bible.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Christ is your definition of a good person?
Christ is the paragon we're supposed to be chasing.
Is Christ your definition of a good person?
Christ is God. So if he were a person, he would be the good person, wouldn't he?
Jeez, it's a yes or no question.
No,
is
it's
Christ
not.
Your definition
No, it's not.
Of a good person?
Because he's both God and man. There's nuance there. Oh, my goodness. And here we go arguing about the Trinity again.
You can't even answer a yes or no question.
Because it's a lawyer's question that's trying to dodge nuance. So,
no.
Yes, it is.
Nuances.
Christ was a man, and he was the good person. So, yes, we should.
But he said he wasn't.
Yes, he did. Yes, he
said, why do you call me good? Only the Father's good.
He was implying that he's God. Okay, we're gonna sit here. We are gonna sit here and argue about this again. Do you want to? We could stay here for 20 minutes if you want to, Cody. I am more than happy to chase this rabbit with you. So, be forewarned. Read Jeremiah's comments, if you would, good sir.
All right. He identified as a Jew from the seed of Abraham, the fulfillment of the promise. Yes. He is good because he is God.
See, there you are, Cody. Right there.
See, you and Jeremiah are the arbiters of truth, my friend.
The Bible is truth. Thank you very much. It's the word. Anyway, okay. So that's how the pharmaceutical companies are able to get away with this. They lobby the crap out of everyone. And okay. Read the next one, Cody. It's kind of funny.
No. 2,000 years of traditional interpretation versus Cody. Well, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Me versus the world, bro.
Yeah, Cody versus the world. So, okay. I wanted to repeat what we had read in the previous botched live stream.
Yeah.
Really quick. Just some food for thought. We were talking about the interconnectivity of systems in the human body. This is referring to serotonin. So let me read this paragraph from a Harvard. Let's see. It's the harvard.edu blog, Gut Feelings, How Food Affects Your Mood. I'll just read this one paragraph really quick. Apologies that the paragraph is not centered. But anyway, when we consider the connection between the brain and the gut, it's important to know that many serotonin receptors are located in the gut. In the relatively new field of nutritional psychology, we help patients understand how gut health and diet can positively or negatively affect their mood. When someone is prescribed an antidepressant such as a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, an SSRI, the most common side effects are gut-related. And many people temporarily experience nausea, diarrhea, or gastrointestinal problems. There is anatomical and physiological two-way communication between the gut and the brain via the vagus nerve. The gut-brain axis offers us greater understanding of the connection between diet and disease, including depression and anxiety. And one study that was brought up in Laura Delano's book is this study right here. This is the abstract for it. And let me read this last bit here. The main areas of serotonin research provide no consistent evidence of there being an association between serotonin and depression, and no support for the hypothesis that depression is caused by lowered serotonin activity or concentrations. Some evidence was consistent with the possibility that long-term antidepressant use reduces serotonin concentration, which is what we're talking about. If you use these drugs, your body stops making it, which makes the problem worse. So this was a study brought out in 2022, and it goes to show that the chemical theory of the brain is wrong and has been wrong for years, and yet we have been taught that it is the truth because we are one of 2 countries in the world that allows pharmaceutical companies to advertise their miserable drugs. So that would be the United States and New Zealand, for those who don't know. So, all right, for the final time, the book is Unshrunk, a story of psychiatric treatment resistance by Laura Delano, and I highly recommend it. So, Cody, do you have any final thoughts?
I'm just trying not to make a wee-wee joke, bud.
I get that reference. So,
I mean, Unshrunk?
Oh, well, then I don't get the reference. Okay.
Well,
with all that being
cold
said,
outside, I'll tell you that.
With all that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you're on the live stream, please stay with us. We are moving on to part 2. If you're watching this after the fact, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Now moving on to part 2. All right. So, Cody, it's your buddy. Your buddy, yep. And I, like an idiot, forgot to switch the box. You know who I'm talking about. That's right, boys and girls. For those who don't know, it's Brandon. Go ahead and read. Yeah.
Jeremiah's making a Seinfeld reference in the chat. I was in the pool. It doesn't always look this way.
There you go.
That's funny.
All right, I got to play through this ad. Oh, I hate these things. All right.
I like the ad better than I like this guy.
Yeah.
He's so silly.
He is silly. Who we're talking about is the one and only Brandon Biggs. But before that, welcome to Faith, Fiction, and Folklore, or as we like to call it, the Try F podcast, where we try not to F the podcast stuff, which we've done once tonight already. And tonight, for part 2, we are talking about the one and only Brandon Biggs.
Oh no.
Brandon Biggs is back.
Look at my American flag.
I thought we were done with him.
I polished my head.
I thought we were done with it, but for some reason, people started watching our videos of Brandon Biggs again. It was just like hundreds of people out of nowhere couldn't get enough of our commentary on Brandon Biggs. Most of them were angry with us, but they were still watching the video. So I thought, well, we've got to give the people what they want. We are trapped by the will of the people, Cody. We are trapped. So we must give the people what they desire until they scream no more, because I want to scream no more. And
in reference to Jeremiah's comment, Brandon Biggs is the George Costanza of Christians. Yikes.
That might be apt. I have to chew on that for a minute. Anyway, no, I was telling one guy on YouTube, I don't know how I feel about the bullet thing. I think the bullet thing was spooky. I can't explain it. I think a lot of what he says is fake, though. He was sitting there screaming that we were going to have an economic crash in January, and we didn't, for example. You know, and I think Mike Winger has some good points about him bringing up prophecies and then kind of rewording them and tweaking them when he gets close, but not quite. So
he's a professional liar.
Yeah. And then somebody else made the comment, and I don't know if somebody's in the chat knows what they're talking about. I didn't know what this person was referring to, but they were talking about there being a distinction between watchers and prophets. And I don't know anything about that, but if somebody does know what the distinction between a watcher and a prophet is, I would be interested.
A watcher's like an angel.
I don't know. I know there's the reference of watchers on the wall in the Bible, but I don't know what that. And I think isn't there a reference in the book of Enoch to the watchers?
Yeah, the Enochian watchers. It's like Azazel and all these guys. Man, I don't know.
Yeah, but so I don't know what they're referring to in this context, in the context of Brandon Biggs. So if anybody is familiar with that, I would be curious. So I thought, in honor of the people's passionate desire to see Brandon Biggs, I thought we would react to him. We have not watched this before, so our reactions would be genuine and heartfelt.
They just like him because they can see themselves in his mirror-polished dome.
Jeremiah says watchers are angels. So sorry, Cody. What were you gonna say? What did you say a second ago? I got distracted by the comment.
Oh, I said it's just ego. Everybody just likes Brandon Biggs because they can see their own reflection in his polished dome.
That's so mean. Ouch. Okay. Jeremiah also says fallen watchers are fallen angels. They became the false gods of the nations.
Yeah.
Okay.
Based.
That makes sense to me. I know zero about it. So.
I don't know how they would be compared to prophets, though. That doesn't really make sense to me.
He was saying Brandon calls himself a watcher. And I'm like, you mean he's a
Really?
fallen angel? Like, in that context, that would make him a fallen angel, wouldn't he? So maybe they must mean something else, because surely he's not subversively telling you he's a demon. But anyway.
I'm a watcher because the Lord speaks to me in my dreams, and I watch the things that he shows to me. Maybe that's what he's talking about.
I don't know. Well, let's listen to old Brandon, see what he has to say today.
Please don't.
Well, I'm glad you're all here tonight. Thank you for joining us. I always have to do it like this.
I'll skip forward. I can't do pleasantries from this guy.
Good morning, family, but it's evening now, huh? I appreciate you all being here tonight.
Okay, we're going to skip forward.
I told you, I said it will happen in the month. I saw June. I said it would be in the summer months. And it will go June. I saw July, August, September, October. And I said, Then I saw a root coming up out of from the sky, going down into the Vatican, you know, where the Pope was announced. And I saw it hit the courtyard there, and it splintered out. And I saw a spirit come on this Asian man. And I said, I don't know what I'm seeing, but the Lord told me to pray about this. And then we see an Asian man rise up today.
We shouldn't have skipped so far, Cody. Now I'm really confused.
He's talking about nothing.
He's talking about a root falling on an Asian man. A root
came out of the sky and came on an Asian man. Is that what it said?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Okay.
Sounds like he's been watching too much dirty internet stuff.
Moving on, I don't know what that.
I'm telling you, folks, Jesus Christ is coming. A great revival is about to happen, but a great shaking to awaken is about to happen. I told you about the 10 cities to pray. Now there's a lot of people.
Can you put up the article so they can see?
Yeah.
Jeremiah says, I'm a watcher because I'm a watching your wife with my beady little eyes. Sips Dr. Pepper. And he doesn't blink, not once. So
yeah, Adderall will do that.
Okay, thank you, son. I appreciate that. But I see what the Lord is warning me to pray over these on the 14th, the military parade, and interceding and praying over Donald, his grandchildren. I saw especially Kai to intercede for this young woman, to pray ahead.
He's just making stuff up
around her.
I hate him.
Then no weapon formed against her would prosper.
we're kind of rapid firing here. Like, I'm still hung up on the Asian bishop, and I guess we're moving on.
I pray over his children, and I pray over Trump Towers. We must pray for these things.
There's only one.
The enemy,
Trump Towers.
We wrestle not against flesh and blood, ladies and gentlemen.
I wonder if he does that on purpose.
Does what on purpose? The rapid firing
one
thing?
Trump Tower. No, there's only one Trump Tower, so he's like, the Trump Towers. He just like says stupid crap, so you ignore the stupid crap that he says.
Is he referring to all of Trump's buildings? Is he referring to all of Trump's buildings?
Tower in New York.
I know there's a Trump Tower in New York, but Trump has a lot of establishments in different places. Is he just referring to all of them? I don't know.
It could be.
I have no
but
clue.
It just seems like he's diverting attention. Like the Trump Towers, like it's specific but non-specific.
Gotcha.
He's just like throwing people off with every word he says. He's terrible. I hate him.
Well, I told the guy on YouTube, I was like, I have a hard time. I really do have a hard time with Brandon Biggs because I'm like, I'm telling you that assassination thing was uncanny, but it's like everything else. I'm just, this is just nonsense, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like you have that one prophecy where you're like, I don't think that was chance, but I can't account for anything else that he says because it's just like gobbledygook. Yeah. And it's wrong. Like he said, there's going to be a financial thing in January. There wasn't. There was no crash. They tried to crash it in March, but anybody watching the news, or Alex Jones more specifically, because that's about all I call news anymore, everybody knew that they were going to sit there and start trying to go after the economy in March through like May, and they tried to crash it then. They weren't able to, but they, being the bankers and the rich guys, are basically trying to short a bunch of stuff. But anyhow, yeah, it didn't happen. So it's like, well, aren't we supposed to take that seriously too? Like he's got a lot of stuff wrong. He got one right that I know for sure. A couple maybes, and then everything else has been wrong. So what do you do with that? You know?
Principalities and powers and spiritual wickedness in high places. We're not dealing with the people. We're dealing with the demonic spirits influencing them. And that's why I say I don't have authority in your neighborhood.
No, that I agree with.
Over your area. But you do. And that's why the Lord said, Brandon, raise up. I'm raising up a million men and women prayer army on your channel.
A men and women prayer army.
Change things as you pray and intercede for the nations.
YouTube channel.
And so we see the things happening with Israel right now. And this is very serious. I saw great anti-Semitism coming in the days ahead. Great.
Okay, now see that's mentalist crap. That's just mentalist crap.
That's been coming for a while.
It's been already here. Like Candace Owens, anyone? Kanye West. Of course, I think Kanye West is trolling a little bit, but I mean, yeah, like
it happens every like 200
around.
years, man. Like every 200 years, people get sick of the Jews and kick them out.
Well, you can't call something that's already been happening like en masse, you know, a prophecy.
Right.
It's like, I see grave anti-Semitism. Yeah, no kidding, man. It's been around for a little bit.
Very bad. And I saw that Trump would be diplomatic. I don't want to, we'll try to work this out. But I saw BB pushing the button.
Trump being diplomatic. That's he's a president. That's like part of his shtick.
Yep. I saw a badger badging, and I predict that he'll dig a hole.
Okay.
Skip to like 46 minutes.
46 minutes, okay.
Yeah, I'm making a prophecy there's going to be something good at 46 minutes.
We're going to see if you're a prophet or just a watcher, Cody. But first, we're going to watch this ad.
I bet Brandon Biggs carries a coach purse.
What?
I bet Brandon Biggs carries a coach purse.
Be nice. A coach purse. A coach purse.
With all that prophecy money.
Lord, one last push. One last call. Visit America one more time. and the greatest move that we've ever seen before. We call forth revival. We call forth revival. We call forth a great awakening. We call forth a great awakening from sea to shining sea, all around this great nation.
I can't turn it down.
Father,
low
we
enough.
call forth a revival. For you said, I've given you a window. What will you do with the window?
What?
I want to punch him right in his face, man.
What does that
Right in his
mean?
face. I don't know. He's
He's
he's doing the tongue
to
thing.
shrink back in fear. It's a time to rise up with a backbone like a crowbar and take the land for Jesus.
Like Ronnie
We
Coleman?
take authority over this.
Backbone like a crowbar.
So he wants all his vertebrae fused together like Ronnie Coleman.
He's trying to be poetic, but that's scoliosis.
Yeah, this guy's...
Okay.
It's hard for me to listen to him.
We've got to
be
give the people what they want. So, all right, let's see here.
Spirit of Antifa, we say you will bow your knee in the mighty name of Jesus. We will not have these riots across this beautiful country, burning our cities. You'll not do this. We bind you in the name of Jesus. Cease and desist in your maneuvering against us. We plead the blood of Jesus over this great nation. For these marches will...
I'm too Baptist for this, Cody. I'm just too Baptist for this.
He's like Randy Marsh. He's like, freaking took our jabs.
Why say that? They already are burning down cities. Like, what?
This guy's a mess, dude.
Okay.
He hates his mother for sure.
People won't even show up. Go home. Find something better to do.
They're getting paid. They're not there because they want to be. They're getting paid. Like, finding something better to do would be a job. That ain't going to happen.
We call peace on this nation. We call peace extending and stressing out our law enforcement and our National Guard. It's an
Quit stressing them
antichrist
out.
spirit.
Okay. Is it an antichrist spirit?
No, he's just saying stuff.
Like, these are communists. They don't believe in anything. Like, I guess in that sense they're antichrists, but I feel like an antichrist spirit's like a little more specific, like, specifically denying the deity of Christ or something. Like, that's just hyperbole.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're still here. We pray over our nations. We pray over Africa. We pray over Asia. We pray over South America. We pray over Europe. We pray over the Middle East. We thank you, Lord, that you're stirring in the hearts of our leaders. You're stirring. You're stirring. We call it stirring. That you would visit them in the midnight hour, Lord. That you would visit them in the midnight hour. Let them have an experience with you in the midnight hour. Shake to awaken. For you said you were shaking the politics. You
I
were
wonder if
shaking
this guy's
the
wife
church.
knows that he's full of shit.
You were going to shake the fact.
I don't know. I have no clue. I haven't seen anything with her, so I have nothing to, judge that from.
He might just be paying her to sit there. Who knows?
Isn't there something in the Bible about not doing long, lofty prayers in public? I feel like I've read that before.
I don't know. There should be.
There is. That's a rhetorical question, but like a lot of.
Jesus said, "Go to your prayer closet. Go to a quiet place."
People of this channel, the 100 of you who have dared to subscribe, 2 of them are my wife's separate accounts. So, if you actually want us to watch Brandon Biggs, we will. We will sit here and watch this man for the whole video. We will give you what you want. If you don't want it, we're going to go somewhere else because I feel like I've given this guy a fair shake.
He's terrible.
Like, I feel like I'm going to give him the Trump thing, but listen to this. Like, he's just saying, it's just random garbage. Like, it's just popcorn phrases
like,
that don't mean anything.
Is there... When I say, like, talking heads, does that ring any bells to you? Like, the heads in, like, Futurama, they just say stuff all the time. They're just like... Is there something like that?
No, I think I know what you're trying to say. He's
like
not...
prophets' heads, like, talking a lot or something?
Yeah, it's
like, is that in history?
Well, I mean, there's a talking heads in the news media. Like, they're just called talking heads because they just kind of parrot what they're told to say.
Yeah, not that, though. The original.
That I don't know. That I don't know. I mean, he's filibustering. He's filibustering for the live stream. That's clear. But
I feel like there's an idea where it's just like there's a head that just talks and it just says words all the time until like it says something truthful. Like the idea of AI, like
you should read
so much. It says so much stuff that it hits a couple of points.
You should read That Hideous Strength by C.S. Lewis. It does actually have a talking head in it.
Okay.
Where the thing doesn't say anything, it just kind of moves. Like they have all this science and all this technology, and it's just this corpse head that they've been able to keep from rotting, and it just kind of mumbles.
Okay.
And the people like interpret what it's saying. Of course, it's just a reflection of what they want.
Okay.
You know, that's I think that's kind of the archetype you're referring to.
Yes. I do need to read that. A hideous what?
That Hideous Strength. That Hideous Strength. It's part of the Space Trilogy by C.S. Lewis.
I'm writing it down.
Third book in that trilogy. I mean, personally, I like the first two better, but yeah, with regards to what you're talking about, yeah, that's part of that. That talking head thing's part of that third book. So
yeah. There's something else I was going to say, but I don't remember what it was. Don't know.
Let's keep going.
Foundation of the earth. You're going to shake the finances, and you're going to shake the heavens. Shake it, Lord. Shake it, Lord.
Shake it, Lord. Shake it for me, Lord. Shake it for me, Lord.
Shake it, Lord. Shake it and wake them up, Lord. That not one should perish, but all come to repentance.
I can't.
Hang in there.
What?
I take it you don't believe in tongues.
No.
Jury's still out for me, so I don't know what to make of it.
Well, it's coming from this guy, so there's your first clue.
Well, yeah, that's a fair point. But jury's still out for me conceptually. I don't know what I feel about it. But there was a time that I actually did it, and I believed in it. You know, I don't know if I believe in it anymore. He's telling the Lord to shake it. There's a lot of showmanship, that's for sure.
It's like a Luke Bryan song, but for God.
Yeah.
This is terrible. This guy's a horrible bald guy.
What I can't figure out is why did this guy start showing up on our feed again? Like,
right?
Like what in the world? I feel like he must have said something. I'm like, what in the world happened? Like, what in the world happened to get him to be popular? Like, I was wondering if he made like another prophecy or something that we could analyze.
I mean, I wonder if it's just the fact of, I mean, you can call this cyclical, but just the fact of Trump coming out, like his parade thing, like these big spectacles where Trump comes out in public and there's all these crowds and it's filmed and all this, like, because he had that parade deal. So I wonder if it's just that they're like waiting on the same cycle to happen again because he was kind of right one time.
Oh, you mean like if he gets taken out by the CIA or something? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah.
Like if he had prophesized that or something?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
I don't know.
Just like I don't know. I'm just seeing pattern, I guess.
Yeah. I'm just going to mute you again. You're not going to keep doing this to me.
My name is Brandon Biggs.
Now I'm seeing Australia, and that's what I think is interesting. What does Australia have to do with that?
So he's seeing Australia.
What is Australia, Father?
It's because we talked about it on the podcast earlier.
Elebostabada, Melebotoboda, Elebotoba, in the minute, he said, pray for the protection.
God, I want to punch him so bad.
Pray, there's an uprising. There's an uprising. There's an uprising.
Okay, so he said he saw Australia. He went into tongues.
Said a bunch of gobbledygook that didn't mean anything.
Okay. One of two things is happening here. Either he's really seeing something in real time, or he's just speaking in tongues until he can figure out what he's going to say next.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the two. It's one of the two. And then he says we should pray for protection, which you should do that generally. So, and he's saying...
arbitrary statement.
Yeah, and then he said there's going to be an uprising. Okay.
I don't know why.
Ooh, my feelings.
Pray over Australia. Pray. Pray. Leo Babaso. Beabo Dabaso. Leo Patamudede. He passes Shishinene. Habonao. Kanamatukache. Cabo de Boca Banana.
I keep imagining myself just running in that room and just...
He's making you awfully upset. I'm baffled and confused here. This is my what the heck is going on face. You seem genuinely upset. Why does Brandon Biggs get to you so?
I don't know, because I know he's full of shit.
So the lie, you think he's lying, and that's what's making you mad.
Maybe it's like, you know, you've heard like the killer in me is the killer in you. You kind of recognize people's demons when you've had them.
Oh,
you know what
okay.
I'm saying?
Yeah, so you've been where he is? Is that what you're saying?
I've lied before. So yeah, I can see his demon and I'm like, own up to your shit, you big fat homo.
Okay, so...
And so I want to correct him. This is my...
Interesting. I'm just...
Which is out
confused.
of pride, and I shouldn't be that way, but sorry.
No, I understand. I want to believe. But it's hard, because I think you're right. All the little body language cues are telling me you're right. But people believe this guy, and I cannot get over the stinking assassination prophecy. And so I'm sitting here looking at this going, see how he's got his chin up and his brows kind of furrowed? That's like that indicates a lot of pride. Like he's talking through stuff. That's what people do when they're trying to think about what they're going to say next. Mm-hmm. It's kind of that speaking in tongues thing. It seems like he's kind of saying it as an and an and so all the little like body language cues are making me go, this guy's lying. But at the same time, there's this other voice in my head going, but what about that prophecy a year ago? He got the ear thing right. And so that's what just goes back and forth in my head over and over again. I see all these like indicators of things that he's lying. Yes, so but he explained it. I think he did, but I think he told it wrong. I think what happened is he saw the blood in the ear, and he made an inference that was incorrect.
Yeah, but he was wrong.
Yeah, he was technically wrong, but that's... If God shows you something and you misunderstand what you're seeing and you say it in the wrong way, does that mean God didn't show it to you? Because it's not like God is going to usurp your will and force you to tell the truth.
I don't think God shows you things like that. It's not in that way.
I do. I think it's possible. I'm not saying this guy's definitely doing it, but I think it's possible.
I mean, every experience that I've ever had with God is like it's not a description of future events. It's don't ask for smaller waves, build a bigger ship.
Okay,
like
I'm
gives you
dumb.
Strength.
I don't know what you mean when you say that.
Ask not for a lighter load, but for broader shoulders.
Okay. All right. I got that.
That's how God works. God doesn't show you a picture of what's going to happen. God prepares you to deal with what's going to happen.
Wouldn't you consider having prophecies like that a burden, though? If you were to really have them? I would consider that a pretty heavy burden. I wouldn't consider that a gift necessarily.
I would say so.
Yeah, I would consider that being very
God's
taxing.
burden is light.
That doesn't mean everything you go through in life is easy, though. That's not what that verse is referring to.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I feel like, I just don't know, like, I feel like this guy was right once. I think he's a human, but, you know, at the same time, I'm sitting here listening. I'm like you listening to this. I'm like, this is just complete bullcrap. You know? So it's like, on the one hand, I'm just sitting here watching this going, this is complete bullcrap. And on the other hand, I'm like, but what about that thing back in July or June or whatever it was? So I'm just, I'm just ripped apart. I'm just ripped apart.
Like your example of C.S. Lewis's talking head, like his ear twitched, right? So you're like, oh, he was right.
No, I don't think it's that.
The same thing.
I think what got me convinced was basically right after I heard this, I was like scrolling on Twitter, and these were two completely independent events. But like, I listened to this guy's prophecy, right, about the Trump assassination thing. And then I was scrolling on Twitter, and you could see, or I saw a picture, a snapshot of each individual thing that had happened that day. And it kind of lined up with what he'd said. So he'd seen the blood in the ear. I saw the picture of the bullet, kind of like in the Matrix. Like, there's a picture that was on Twitter where you could literally see the bullet flying past Trump's ear. Somebody just snapped it, caught the bullet as it was in the middle of, flying through the air. And then I saw him on his knees with his hand like this, and it did look like he was praying. And then, you saw him get picked up by this Secret Service, almost like he was being baptized. And it was like all the little pictures on Twitter lined up with the individual things he'd said. And it was like, when I saw all that, what hit me was like, oh, he saw something, but he kind of added his own interpretation to the things he was seeing. Because if I was sitting there looking at that, I would assume Trump was praying with his hand like that. If I'd seen the bullet flying past his ear and then saw the blood on his ear, I would infer that, if I didn't know anything about bullets, I might infer that his eardrum got busted because the bullet was so close, And if I saw the Secret Service lifting him up and, you might say he was baptized in a sense. Like, I could see why he would say those things. I could see how he would come to those conclusions.
Why wouldn't you just say the bullet went by his ear and it hurt his ear? Like, I don't know what happened.
I don't know why he said it that way either, but he said that's what he was doing. Like, he was basically, of course, I heard I heard his explanation after the Twitter thing, and I'd already inferred it. So, maybe that added credibility to his words in my head. But
right. I mean, you're kind of trusting a synchronicity from the internet, which is controlled by the devil. So,
I mean, that's not an invalid thing to say. I mean, it could have been like demonic coincidence, perhaps, but I just thought it was uncanny. Whatever it was, there was a spiritual component to it. There was definitely a spiritual component to it.
Maybe.
Unless you want to say the Fed gave him like advanced knowledge or something,
I mean, dude, like I said, I think these stories just repeat. This is Peter in the ear over again. I don't know. I think these stories just happen over and over again, and every once in a while you can grab a little snippet.
Can you flesh it out for me more? Because I'm not sure I understand what you mean. Like, this being Peter in the air. Like, yeah, Peter was hit in the air. Trump was shot in the air. Why are those two connected beyond just the ear?
I'm not sure. I have no idea.
Okay.
I see these stories replaying.
Like, it's a pattern?
Yeah.
But the only thing a part of that pattern, just to push back on you a little bit, the only thing a part of that pattern is the ear, though. Like,
that's fair.
Like, Peter wasn't like the leader of the group, or Christ was the leader of the group. Peter's, getting chopped in the ear was kind of him acting in haste in a way that was bad, that he should have done, and Christ told him not to do it. And Trump's like standing up to, the government powers, and the Almighty saved him. It seems like those are two different kinds of events.
Peter cut off the guard's servant's ear.
Yeah, you're right. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if Trump is Israel's servant. There you go.
Trump's Israel's servant. I'm not sure I buy that premise, but
I don't know. I'm just guessing.
You're just guessing?
I know Trump is subservient to Israel. So.
Well, I heard he was bowing up to Netanyahu. Netanyahu wasn't very happy about it.
That's true.
So, but then this whole thing of Iran happened, and apparently Trump knew about it and gave it the green light. So, I don't know.
We need the forever war going, Gary.
I don't know, man. I don't know if this necessarily ties to the forever war thing. I think the Ukraine thing definitely ties to the forever war. I'm not convinced the Iran and Israel thing is tied to the forever war. Like, I'm not sure they're the same.
If it takes off, it's just
like
perpetuating
they're the same thing in the sense
military-industrial complex.
Yeah, they're the same thing in the sense that the same billionaire types are funding, like the Iranians and Ukraine, and like they're definitely involved in like giving people the money. I'm certain the CIA funded that October 7th attack with the U.S. aid money, by the way. So, which thankfully some of that did
affirming care in Iran or whatever.
Right. Yeah, the whole transgender Sesame Street. Yeah. So we need to pay for that. So, all right, let's wrap this up with a little more Brandon Biggs. And if somebody is a fan of this guy, do you want us to keep talking about him or not? I don't know. We need some feedback on this guy, because I don't want to just keep poking at this guy if people believe in him or whatever, believe he's actually a prophet, but I'm not going to sit here and say I'm completely convinced this guy's a prophet. I'm like stumped about the prophecy from a year ago, but I'm looking at this video and this is a wreck, dude. This is a showman. What I'm looking at right now is a showman. Okay? There's no way you're convincing me that this guy right here is real. I can't speak for a year ago. That is not real. That is showmanship.
I think we should do a deep dive on Brandon Biggs. Excuse my language.
Gotcha.
Deep dive is an overused term. But if we really get into this guy's history and break it down, like, we could really piss him off. And then maybe we could do like an octagon fight.
Are you gonna fight him?
You're gonna do it.
Oh, I'm gonna do it. Why? I'm like the least hostile guy towards him of the group.
Yeah, but Krav Maga or something, right?
I had like 6 months. I get like a punch. I am a certified green stripe in Goju Ryu. Does that count?
And I don't. He's probably gonna win because the Lord showed me which punches to use, and I prayed for protection over my bald head.
I'm sure the ludicrous amount of cigars I smoke would have nothing to do with it. So, all right, let's wrap this up here and see what we got to say.
Palabota Go to the end.
Go to the end. All right, we're going to go to the end.
It's full of probiotics and stuff. So we're learning about that.
He's advertising.
On YouTube that was talking about it. And
Let's
that's
see.
Where because I was praying in the Spirit, and the Lord gives me these things. It's kind of like this. I'll let you on another something. I was praying about a berry, and the Lord said it was the size of your thumb, and it was a goji berry. And the Lord said, pray about the goji berry. And I saw Mount Fuji. Fuji? Yeah. Okay. And I saw this berry, and the Lord said, pray over this. And I don't know, but when he talks about it and he tells me about it, I'll eat a couple of them. I'm like, well, I know there's something about this. I don't know what the goji berry does, but he tries to tell you about things that are been here forever, that are really good for you. It's for what I understand. So I just pray over it. I'm like, well, that's interesting. I just get these little cues from the Holy Spirit.
Was that an advertisement? Was he selling goji berry powder or something for somebody and imparting the will of God?
I don't know. We stopped too late. Do you want me to rewind and see if it's like a product?
I kind of do.
Okay. Let's see. How far back do you think we need to go here?
I don't know.
Let's see. We're at 204 or 203, 4. I'll go to 202.
Kombucha too. You know the
kombucha.
Like kombucha? The Lord spoke to me. I was praying about kombucha and the fermented, the growing the mushrooms on top. That fungus, and you ferment tea with it. And he started talking to me about kefir. And I was drinking the kefir and the grains, eating the grains. Because of for your stomach and for your bowels and for
two
your
different
immune
things.
system,
He's
for
just
probiotics. And the Lord talks to me, so I drink a lot.
He's just
of
making stuff up,
and
Gary.
I know it's fattening. Kamut. That's the weed she's talking about. But I make homemade kefir. And strain it and it's sometimes it's real tart. But I'll eat the grains off of there and it's like a treat. It's kind of like yogurt. I mix it with my yogurt and stuff. But it's full of probiotics and stuff. So we're learning about that. There was a lady.
That's
on
not all
YouTube
he eats.
That was
He eats about 4 cheeseburgers a day, if you know what I'm saying.
I think he's recommending healthy food. That's what I think he's doing.
If he's selling something, that's what Jesus flipped tables over. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you're right. But I didn't see any products. I think he's just talking.
That's all he ever does.
Turtle Chief, I think, is here. I think he said, "Hey, Mao," and
Hey,
then
Mao.
he said, "Kefir." Yes, kefir, kombucha, fermented tea.
Those are 2 different things.
I don't care.
Kefir's yogurt based. Kombucha is fungus.
Okay. Wow. I learned something. Yay. Okay. Well, guys, we need feedback here. Do you want us to keep talking
is
about
a
Brandon
wreck.
Biggs or not? Because he's evidently popular. People like talking about him, but I just... How many times can you go, "I'm baffled," and Cody go, "This guy's a phony"? You know?
Right.
I mean, we can just keep saying this over and over again, but... and we will, if that's what you want. We will. Cody will go, "This guy's a lying liar who lies," and I'm going to go, "Oh, I don't know." We could just keep doing that. I don't mind. But is that what you want? If that's what you want, we'll do it. If you want us to do something else, we'll do that.
I say let's do a deep dive. Maybe we'll get his attention, and then we can get an octagon fight.
Okay, and then
That's my goal.
Okay, and then I can die of asthma in an octagon ring. Okay, or whatever some smoke-induced ailment might be.
We can do tag team. I bet he'll have his wife fight for him first.
Fight for 2 minutes, go, "Cody!" Yeah, okay. So, all right. Oh, gosh. All right, we're moving on. So, if you are still in the live stream, we're going to the Bilderbergs next. If you are watching this after the fact, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.
Deuces.
All right. Well, since Turtle Chief is in the chat, do you want to get on here or not? Because you're welcome to come on here. We still got 2 more subjects to go. Give him a minute to reply if he does.
It'll be a long night.
Yeah. My fault, though.
Yeah.
Me fault. Because I can't figure out OBS and the fact that it keeps shutting off the audio constantly. All right, so let's see here. Okay, well, we'll just kind of go on, and if Trevor wants to join in, he can join in. So, all right, you want to sign us into this one, or would you like me to continue doing so?
About the Bilderbergs?
Yep.
Okay. Welcome to Faith, Fiction, and Folklore, or as we like to call it, the Try F podcast, where we try not to F the podcast up, which we have done probably a couple of times tonight, but one really bad time. It's okay, though. This episode, we're going to talk about the Bilderberg group. They had a meeting this week, and we're going to listen to a guy stand outside and complain about it.
Pretty much. We're going to try to make 30 minutes worth of content out of that. So,
yeah. Which is what Alex Jones did back in was it 92?
He did, yes, during the Endgame and all that. His famous documentary Endgame. Maybe I should have pulled that up. Anyway, so yes, the reason we're talking about it is Bilderberg is one of those big conspiracy theories. So back whenever I was doing research for a book, they were still saying that Bilderberg didn't even exist. So this would have been the 20-teens. So like 2012, 2013, something like that. Yeah, they were insisting that Bilderberg wasn't even real whenever I was doing research on it. Now it's just commonplace. But we still get the Wikipedia corrector thing. I don't know what the point of this is, but if you look here at the bottom of the window, it says, from the reliable source known as Wikipedia, the Bilderberg meeting is an annual off-the-record forum Established in 1954 to foster dialogue between Europe and North America, the group's agenda, originally to prevent another world war, is now defined as bolstering consensus around free market Western capitalism and its interests around the globe. That's a load of bullcrap. They want to reestablish a feudal technocracy. But, you know, it's Wikipedia. What are you going to say? Is that Trevor? It is. It is. And now I have to fix my windows. Hang on.
It's kind of funny. So, like, the Bilderberg group was designed to be anti-war, so they can't exist without war.
You're right.
It's hilarious, right?
You're
they
right.
perpetuate their own existence like
Exactly.
an institution.
Exactly.
Crazy.
Where it's all the same thing. Life is a rerun. So
Hi, Trevor.
Hi, Trevor.
Can you hear me now?
We can. We can indeed, good sir.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good, man. We're just
It's fine. You're only what, 4 hours
4
late?
hours late.
Yeah.
It's okay. We completely wrecked the first podcast. It was ridiculous.
It's okay.
And if you would have been here, you might have saved it. So
Yeah,
it's your
you
fault.
could have saved us from the absolute
you.
humiliation.
Saved you from nothing.
Saved us from nothing. All right, hang on.
Oh, Gary lost his mic for the hold, so we did like 40 minutes of show with no mic on Gary.
Yeah, it was really bad.
no.
It was really bad. Yeah. So hang on here. I'm having technical difficulties with my Windows.
Looks great.
Oh, yeah, because I'm on the one that works, but we got to get the share screen fixed, and it's not cooperating with me. So I'm not sure what the deal is. So give me a minuet here. And
Your minute's up.
my minute's up, of course it is.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why. It's because I'm on the wrong stupid screen. All right, yeah, you guys talk amongst yourselves while I fix this crap.
Hello amongst yourselves.
Anderson Cooper's like, who's the Bilderbergs? I don't know what you're talking about. You're a crazy conspiracy theorist. You probably take horse dewormer. I took
Yes.
some horse dewormer the other day, by the way. Feel great.
Get rid of all the worms.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we had one of those surprise. It's somebody's birthday parties. I was like,
Whose
oh,
birthday
okay.
was it?
One of my wife's friends over here in Arkansas.
Hmm.
And so I was like, yeah, we can go. I'll just jump on the podcast after dinner. No big deal. They didn't start dinner till 7. And dude reached down to grab charcoal for his grill. And he's like, shit, I'm out of charcoal.
Wow.
So we had to run and get charcoal, and then we had to run and do a beer run. And I'm like, well, maybe I should have jumped on before we started dinner.
All's well, man.
All right.
So I just got done with dinner.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, it's good to have you, man, because we're dying up here. You missed our Brandon Biggs episode. It was brutal.
I got the very end of it. It wasn't as brutal as you thought it was.
Okay, well, thank you. I'm trying to be fair,
It wasn't
Trevor.
as brutal as
I'm trying
Brandon
to be fair.
Big himself.
Yeah, I'm trying to be fair. I'm trying.
Hey, you need to stop being mean to Brandon Biggs because the Lord spoke to him and told him that you were going to be mean to him, so he was prepared and he didn't even get defensive.
Leave Brandon alone.
I got that reference.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
I
All
didn't know
right.
that reference.
All right, boys and girls, or boys. I'm going to start this Bilderberg thing, and then I'm going to disappear for a second. So let me know if, like, somebody shoots the poor reporter or something.
All right. You
Yeah.
gonna put a camo shirt on?
No, I'm going to get another cigar because I'm an addict. So
Whoa, you smoked a whole cigar?
yes, I did. I
You're
did.
gonna
I
die.
love addicts.
Yep. That's the goal.
die.
I don't need to prolong my life expectancy.
Find what you love and let it kill you. The purple.
The Christing.
The Christ.
We
Play
need,
the
I
video
wish
game.
I could do better
Oh,
at
no.
animation, so we could do the voices for Am and Big Man. 'cause
I forgot my dad joke book.
you forgot your dad joke book. Oh no! Whatever will we do? All right, here we go. Here's the Bilderbergs. I'll be right back.
This is Dan Dix here reporting for Press for Truth. It is day one of the Bilderberg conference here in Stockholm, Sweden.
Hilarious.
Heading right to the front of the hotel now to try to document some of the participants who are about to turn up at this hotel that is on very strict lockdown. We just got back from the airport attempting to get some documentation of the participants there, but it seems that they have changed their tactics and now bring them into private areas because unfortunately that was a bust. But here we are. We'll see what we can get. Stay tuned. So they have actually moved the barricade back quite a bit. Was hoping we'd be able to be that close, but I would have been surprised. But here's where they've pushed any members of the press or anyone from the public to be back this far. So it might be tricky to get some shots from here.
So John, hello, how are you? Good to see you. Have a nice meeting, Sir John.
And who was that, Giorgio?
It was Sir John Sawyer.
Yeah.
One of the British representatives of the steering committee.
The British rep for the Bilderberg steering committee just pulled in. Usually they've got the windows up, windows tinted. Not that one. See a lot of this. Random dudes with earpieces standing around amongst the crowd. I think we all know who these dudes are. They got undercovers and Secret Service and agents everywhere. How are you enjoying the conference so far, sir?
It's not started, so...
Not started, right, okay. What do you think about some of the topics on the agenda?
No, let's get later, yeah.
They have depopulation on the agenda. What?
No comment, it's not started. Yeah.
No comment, okay. Will you be able to give a comment later, or is it
Thank you.
strict Chatham House rules? You understand why people are a little bit concerned about the secrecy, right? The lack of transparency.
No, let me walk a little bit. It's a free country. We
Yes.
little walk, my friend.
Correct.
Not too close to him now. He doesn't want to speak to you. Could be.
Well, it is a
Could
public
be. Yes,
street.
it is.
I'm free to walk here.
You're free to walk, but
Yeah.
you're not allowed to have the camera this close to him.
Why not?
So keep, because it's the law.
It's the law to not have the camera
I
close?
don't have, yes. it
Which
is.
law? Can you cite that to me?
I don't have the word in English. It could be ofredad in Swedish. If he doesn't want your camera like this, then you'll have to back off. Okay? Keep the distance of 5-10 meters or something, then I'm fine with it. But not like this, okay?
Yeah, well, I
Okay
mean,
or not okay?
yeah, that's fine.
Don't be as close.
Yeah, that's fine, of
5
course.
to 10 meters.
5 to 10 meters.
It's a free country. That's the word.
I'm from America. How far is
He's like, I'm sorry, I don't talk to people with the name Dix.
you?
Yeah.
Your name is
There's
Dan
the security
Dix.
guy I was talking
Sorry, I
about
can't
earlier.
talk to you. That guy's huge.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So the officer couldn't exactly cite to me the actual law that would dictate that you have to be 5 to 10 meters away. They're
This guy's
obviously
actually
just
annoying me.
making that up on the spot.
We could change that.
That's what it looks like when you're protecting criminals.
So what I miss?
Not
You
much. You got
talked
too
about
close.
protecting criminals.
Talking about
You got
protecting
too close to one of the leaders, and the cop got mad at him for being too close.
Ah.
He's like, "Oh, can you cite the law to me where I can't have my camera too close?" And the cop's like, "Just don't be so fucking rude." And he's like, "Oh, but my name is Dan Dix."
Don't be rude. Go away.
It's a good summation. So have we learned
Oh.
anything?
No.
No, nothing whatsoever. Okay.
We're
let's
trying to
see
learn
here.
how far, what was it, 10 to 12 meters is?
10 to 12 meters is? Okay.
5 to 10 meters, yeah.
5 to 10 meters. Was that arm length?
Probably just far enough away to not ask any questions.
A meter's like a yard.
Oh, that's
30
right.
yards.
So you
Yeah, that would be quite a distance, wouldn't it?
need 5 yardsticks.
Yeah.
Huh. Well,
15 feet.
I don't suppose that's anything particularly new. I wouldn't imagine.
Yeah,
All right,
he's kind of spiraling about, oh, you guys are being secretive. And it's like, well, I mean, they're world leaders. If they told us everything, we'd all kill each other.
Hey, we're already killing each other anyway. So,
Right.
yeah, they can't make it worse, can they?
And the world leaders are killing us.
Yeah. Anyway. So,
I think.
let's read some of the comments here. This looks like it'll be interesting. How is there not thousands of people protesting these criminals? The gathering of pure evil. And this is the biggest PDF file meeting. The weird thing is these people are being protected by public money. So, yeah, nobody likes these guys. That's probably why they rebranded.
I do. I think they're based.
Oh, you think they're based, huh?
Yeah.
The
They're just trying
Bilderbergs
to
are
do
based.
their jobs. You know,
Oh.
you got to put fluoride in the water to make people stupid so they don't kill each other. You know.
Hey, they might figure out them SSRIs are crap if you didn't. I mean, what would we do then? Where would we make that money? So, anyway,
There's blood in the water.
There's blood in the water. Yeah, well, anyway, so that's that. Let's see what the annual Bilderberg meeting has to say. List of participants for 2025 at bilderberg.org. So, let's see. Who were the characters who decided to sell out your country? Let's see.
All of them.
Let's see. Gabriel Attell, Murray. Oh, I'm not going to pronounce that. CEO of BP, named Murray Auchincloss. Are you serious? Stacey Abrams. Really?
Who's that?
Yeah, I know that guy.
Oh, it's this lady that, lost an election and then never quit whining about it because Democrats always honor elections. So, yeah, she's still running around going, I never conceded. Kind of like a certain Clinton. So, Sage Works Production. She's the CEO of Sage Works Production. She was also going to get a tremendous amount of money from USAID, in case anybody wants to know. Not that there, nothing to see there. Let's see. Then we have the European Commissioner, Financial Services, and the Savings and Investment Union. That's a CIA front. Louise Maria from Albuquerque. Or maybe the last name is Albuquerque. I don't know. Benjamia Alcazar. Diego Benjamia Alcazar. CEO of IE University. And a bunch of people. Let's see if there's anybody else that we actually know.
What is this list of names we're looking at again?
This is the list of attendance at the Bilderberg meeting. Those who attended the 2025 meeting of this
Why do we care about this random meeting?
Because for years they said this meeting didn't even exist. This is one of those big conspiratorial things where it was like, there's no Bilderberg meeting. They don't. What are you talking about? Y'all are crazy. And now they just, they have a website.
Yeah.
It's just funny. I'm just relishing the irony because, yeah. When I was first getting into this is one of those, oh, you're crazy type things.
Started from the bottom, now we're here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Christopher Donahue. He's probably related to Will Donahue.
We need to do more videos on him. You realize that podcast service actually ranked our episodes, and the Was Judas Good or Bad is actually our #1 episode, according to that podcast site.
Dude, I think it's a great question. I've been talking to people about it, and I don't think Judas was that bad.
You want to have this debate again? We can. Apparently people like it.
He wasn't that bad until he was bad.
Well, he wasn't that bad. He wasn't that bad until he was.
I can empathize Judas.
You can empathize with Judas. Well, we can talk about that again because apparently people liked it. We're starting to get feedback from people, so more Will Donahue apparently.
All right.
Maybe that won't be as painful as Brandon Biggs.
There's a frog in here.
I mean, I actually
Hi,
like
frog.
most of what Will Donahue says. I mean, he says some crazy stuff, but
Yeah, well, I think I'm beginning to understand where he got it from. So maybe another video about him would be more profitable.
yeah.
So,
Did you get it from Amon?
oh, hey, the leader of Spotify. You know, one of the sites we're on is at this thing. Daniel EK.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Let's see. Who else?
That's
Anybody?
wild.
Yeah.
We should do a video for each one of these people.
No.
That would take forever.
Friedman?
We'd have
Friedman? I wonder
content
what
forever
ethnicity
then.
he is.
Friedman, what are you talking about? You see a Friedman on here?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's in the F section.
these. Oh, did I have to go up? There we go. Yeah, you're right. Christia Friedman. Thomas L. Friedman.
Foreign Affairs columnist.
Ah, for the New York Times. You mean the
Oh, she's a
media
liar.
and big business and companies, and politicians, they all get together for a giant meeting. But the media is unbiased, guys.
Heinrichs.
They're
There's a lot
all-
of German names in here.
Yeah.
Rebecca Heinrichs.
Yeah, and you're the Nazi. Anyway, sorry. Anyway.
Johansson.
Johansson. Oh my goodness. Let's see.
Karp. That's Russian.
I got some Russians in here.
Kratzois.
There's a lot of people at these meetings.
Yeah.
Wallenberg. Jacob Wallenberg. There's two Wallenbergs. Wonder what ethnicity they are.
Shush. Racist.
Oh, a Stradelenberg.
Wonder if they're related to Wahlberg.
Gerhard Zieler, the president of Warner Brothers. So movie company. Hey, and a member of Congress, Jason Smith. We should remember that name, Jason Smith.
Wonder if he's close to John Smith.
Probably not.
I
All
bet he
right.
is.
Well, that's that. So
Now, my question is, how many of those names are fake?
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, they are heads of CEOs, so they're CEOs and stuff. So like their official name would be fake, which people do change those names.
Yeah, so and some companies have fake CEOs so that they can fake get money for those fake positions.
They can fake get money for fake positions.
Exactly.
Oh, so they don't have to pay taxes. They can have the other fake person pay the taxes
There you go.
with their fake money.
And fake vote.
Based.
All right. Well, you
Or biased.
or biased. Yeah. Let me see if I can find anything interesting on Twitter really quick. Because that video was a lot more lackluster than I thought it would be, so I'm having to scramble a little bit here.
Dude, I can't believe Cash Patel wore a shirt with his name on it.
Yeah,
Blows
yeah, I
my
know,
mind.
right? Not letting it go. Where's that Epstein list? Oh, hey, remember that tape we were supposed to get that was supposed to show an empty hallway? Why is that
We didn't
taking
get it?
2 weeks to edit? Just out of curiosity, how long does it take to edit a video of an empty hallway, guys?
10
Just-
weeks.
Just questions.
I mean,
just questions.
Why
10
did
weeks.
the Zapruder film take 8 years to come out?
Money.
Here's some of the discussions they
have money
had for the.
issues.
Who had money issues? We're like, this is
Trevor's just
derailing.
Making shit up again.
Thank you.
We're just derailing. Okay, well, let's see. What were the topics this year? So, what was the topic? What was Stacey Abrams talking about or listening about? Or what was the head of Warner Brothers talking about? What were these people? What were they interested in? Let's see. The transatlantic relationship. That was topic number 1. Ukraine. Topic number 2. The U.S. economy.
Wait, I have questions about these.
Go for it.
What is the transatlantic relationship or
Transatlantic.
Yeah. What is
I don't know.
Transatlantic? That's hilarious.
All right, let's just Google it. What is the transatlantic relationship?
Satan is a tranny.
Exactly.
Archetypically, that actually is true. He's always seen it portrayed as like androgynous.
Yeah. What's that show with the Powder Puff Girls?
It's called the
Remember
Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
Girls are awesome.
Him, who had like the tutu and the goatee. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's an archetype.
Yeah, almost.
I am Jojo.
Jojo.
Satan guy.
Yeah.
Oh, the other guy.
Yeah, it's a
The
nonsense
dude
word.
that dressed like a dude that thought he was
he's
a
like
dude.
a tranny. He's a Baphomet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trevor, to answer your question, transatlantic relations is a nonsense word. It's basically cultural, political, economic, and social relations between countries on both sides of the Atlantic Ocean. In other words, nothing. That topic is about nothing.
Silly.
Yeah,
I would rather talk about mermaids.
It's goober words.
It's an excuse to have conversations about
nothing.
What's the word where you betray your country?
Oh, traitor. Treason.
Yeah. Treason.
Okay, yeah.
Treason.
Yeah, it's how they discuss treason over beanie weenies. So.
Right.
So, all right.
I like beanie weenies.
The next subject was Ukraine, and then the next subject was the U.S. economy. After that, Europe, which also means Ukraine. Middle East, that probably means Iran and Israel.
Ukraine is not in Europe, is it?
Yes, it is. Like
No, it's not.
close to Russia, but yeah, still Europe technically. So.
Oh.
Anyway.
Okay.
But yeah, what's Germany going to be talking about? Ukraine. What's France going to be talking about? Ukraine. What's Britain going to be talking about? Ukraine. All of Europe is going to be talking about Ukraine. So when they say Europe, they mean Ukraine.
Yeah.
So.
I see. My bad.
Trevor, your ratios are off a little bit with Europe. Like, I think the entire country of Europe, or the entire continent of Europe, fits inside of Texas, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So Ukraine and Europe aren't. I mean,
yeah, they're not
that
that
far away.
Yeah.
Right.
So we had the next section. What in the world is the authoritarian axis? Well, that sounds ominous.
The authoritarian axis.
Yeah, defense, innovation, and resilience. Oh, I'm going to have to look that up. What is an authoritarian axis? All right, let me look that up really quick, guys.
Hey, if I cut out, it's because I'm on my hotspot, so just bear with me.
Authoritarian axis.
I should.
What is it?
Are you Bigfoot now?
No, I'm bearing with you.
Okay, so these are the big boaties that the globalists want us to fight. So the term authoritarian axis generally refers to a loose coalition of authoritarian states, particularly China, Russia, and Iran, which are seen to be working together. That's kind of true, kind of not. And the only reason China and Russia are working together is because the U.S. made them. But anyway, that's a whole other subject.
We didn't make them. They make their own choices.
No, they don't. They're herded like cattle through economic pressure.
By who, Gary?
NATO. NATO and the billionaires and the theys. The theys and the thems. So, all right. So there's the authoritarian axis. And then what we got next here? We got defense, innovation, and resilience. So they're going to talk about defense. And then AI.
How to kill your citizens.
There you go. AI deterrence and national security. AI is overrated. I'm telling you, that is not going to be a thing. It's going to help people, but it's not going to do the stupid stuff they say it's going to.
Artificially rated.
That's fear-mongering. Actually, what that actually is them trying to get investments for AI, because they're telling everybody AI is going to be the biggest thing since sliced bread. So that's probably a marketing pitch. So, proliferation. Don't know what that is either.
What does that mean?
Let's look it up again.
To proliferate.
To proliferate.
Yummy.
What is proliferation?
I went prolific last night.
Rapid increase in numbers. Oh, Trevor, you sly dog. This is them sneaking in their concerns about the world population. Fascinating. Rapid increase in numbers. So,
stupid questions are great sometimes.
They are. That was fantastic. Very shrewd, good sir. So yes, this is them complaining about how there's too many people and how they're going to get rid of you. And geopolitics of energy and critical minerals. In other words, there's too many people and they're trying to take our stuff. And then depopulation and migration. How do we get rid of the too many people? So the last 3 subjects are about how to kill you. So nothing to see here. It's just another bland.
Slowly. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Depopulation.
I think the defense, innovation, and resilience could be that too.
Yeah, I think that's probably like war prep. Like how they're going to keep, somebody from Russia from nuking Germany or something. So
easy.
That's probably what they're talking about there. But yeah, good catch. So the last 3 subjects are all about killing you.
I didn't catch, so.
Huh? They're not going to kill you by catching you. They're going to give you a special...
No, you asked what proliferation was, and that forced us to go look it up, whereas we would have pretended to know what it means and just moved on.
Yeah, or just said I don't care and moved on, which would have been my default.
Well done, guys.
It's just gobbledygook. It probably means something nefarious. I would have said something generically nefarious and then moved on. So, all right. So they were talking about how to kill you, and nobody's talking about the Bilderberg meeting because everybody's talking about the LA riots and the war of Iran.
I don't like these guys.
Watch the other hand. Watch the other hand, guys. Nothing but a distraction. All these big business people are getting together discussing how to end your life, but you're supposed to focus on the riots and the King's Day speech and the war, or the King's Day protests, or no King's protest and the war of Iran. You're supposed to focus on that. Yeah. Don't focus on these big rich people that spent the whole week discussing how to kill you. Don't focus on that.
That actually worked at the dinner table. That's all they could talk about was LA riots. I'm like,
yep.
Sitting back here, I'm like, you guys should probably look at their other hand. But
yeah.
Oh well.
And guess
Now
who?
You See Me is a great movie.
Mm-hmm. And guess who funded the LA riots? China and the CIA. Oh. It's almost like they're on the same team. China.
Wait. I want you to do something real quick for me.
What's that?
Just go to like Google search and type in rent a mob.
Rent
a mob?
You can seriously, it's an online website where you can rent a mob. B-M-O-B, not P.
Oh, rent a mop. Oh, wow, that's embarrassing. I'm an idiot.
It's okay.
Rent a mop. So it's giving me the AI definition. Rent a crowd. Oh,
I don't want the definition. Rent a mob right there.
Well, that's just the Collins definition. Crowds on demand.
That's
Holy crap. Really? What?
You can rent your own crowd and tell them what to do and pay them what to do.
Oh, wow. Crowds. Let's read this, gang. Oh, my goodness. Crowds on demand is your home for impactful advocacy campaigns, demonstrations, PR, mercenaries, I added that, stunts, crowds for hire, and corporate events, service available nationwide.
Go to the tab Who We Are.
Holy crap. That's like the 4th one down. All right.
Adam Schwartz.
Adam Schwartz. Adam Schwartz.
Wonder what ethnicity he is.
Oh
the
my
Schwartz.
Goodness. Wow.
It's the Schwartz.
That is too good. That is too good. Oh man. I was wanting to see if I want to see if this guy's on the list, but I don't remember where I looked up the list, so I don't know.
Golly, zoom in on that nose. Let me see that nose. Woo! That's a big one.
That's what she said. Or not. They them said.
That I actually had a guy. We interviewed a guy on the radio whenever I was working for Joe. Yeah, we talked to one of these Rent-A-Crowd guys, and I actually made him mad by asking, "Is it really ethical to make it seem like there's a consensus when there isn't?" He didn't like me. I didn't like him.
Go to the contact us page.
Contact us. Well, I don't want to help people rent a mob, Trevor.
There was a one of those tabs talked about.
Of course, they can figure it out. It's not hard.
Where they have recently gone. I can't remember which tab it was.
Protest rallies and advocacy. Let's see. Blocking new union restrictions. Justice for victims of deceptive home sales. Crippling a child molester-owned business. Yeah, so they're basically.
That's cool.
Yeah, 1 out of 4 was good.
They had to put that one on there to cover
The
that.
problem is the guy probably wasn't even a child molester. They just accused him of that.
Yeah, that is kind of a go-to accusation of the CIA.
It's the purple.
It's the purple, man.
I love it when you do that.
You are really good at that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Say the Christing.
The Christing. We gotta. We
You are
gotta.
perfect. At that.
We gotta put the Christing on the purple and put it in a latte and spread it over the eyes.
Make a salve with my spittle.
I could make a salve with my spittle. So. All right. Anyway. So. Yeah, well, that's depressing. I wanted to see if this Adam Swart. What is his name? Adam, what's it? What? Adam Swart.
S-W-A-R-T.
Adam Swart. Let me see if he's on the Bilderberg group list.
Schwartz. It's the. Is that off of? It's that Mel Brooks movie. The Schwartz.
Spaceballs.
Spaceball, and they're redoing it. What a synchronicity.
Yeah. Poor Mel Brooks. Why would you remake anything in this day and age?
Maybe they hired this guy's crowd for the Mel Brooks movie. The Schwartz.
The Schwartz. Maybe. Okay, well, I could find who went. Now I can't. Of course I can't. Bilderberg meeting. Let's see.
Did you lose your Bilderberg meeting list?
I did. I can't find my list of who all went.
They heard us talking about it and was like, hurry, block this.
Yeah, shut up. So, yeah, that's great. All right.
Yep, you've lost your login credentials.
Yeah, I got in trouble. So, good night.
Oh, well.
Isn't that amazing, though? Like, all this stuff kicks up at the same week of the Bilderberg meeting, and 3 of those subjects literally are how to kill you. Isn't that just incredible?
It's pretty crazy.
That is just, like, funny in the most depressing way.
Yeah.
Let's see, is there anything...
Oh, did you accidentally go from the meeting to X here?
No, I did that on purpose, because I'm going on to the next one, because I could spend all night looking for the list again.
We're just going to have to pay attention and,
Yeah.
If there's any vaccines that come out or anything like that, we'll have to release a emergency episode.
Yeah. Peter Thiel went to it as well. That was actually the second guy in that video that we considered a bust. I didn't recognize him. So this was Peter Thiel. He went to the Bilderberg meeting. That's depressing. Let's see.
Why is that depressing?
Because Peter Thiel was supposed to be like one of the heroes of the libertarian movement for a long time, and I guess he's not. So
isn't he a scumbag?
Apparently. I mean,
I've always heard he was a scumbag.
You didn't see Elon Musk on that list, I'm just saying. So, yeah, so Peter Thiel's on there. Let's see.
That's a fair point. I'll give you that.
Thank you.
I don't trust that guy as far as I can throw him, but
hey, if he's not with this crowd, that's a good sign. So
I mean, he's in with the Mark of the Beast crowd. He's like, let me put a chip in your head to control your thoughts. How about no?
Yeah, there's just different factions fighting for powers. You gotta have to
the only chip I want is a potato chip. Sorry.
Somebody made a good point. Anna Vandersteel says it's not a good day when the Bilderberg freaks mention your country and depopulation in their agenda, referring to the Ukraine and the U.S. economy and depopulation. That is a fair point. Like I said, though, they're talking about killing you.
Yeah.
But focus on the riots in Iran, guys. Don't worry about it. Let's see.
Or L.A.
They can't kill you, though. You have to kill yourself.
By eating.
It's voluntary.
I don't know. I mean, I guess if you drink the water.
Yep.
But I mean, look, if that's the only water you can drink, do you really have a choice? I would still say they killed you.
I don't know. I think it's your responsibility to recognize what area you're in.
And then filter your water.
Yeah. I have a Berkey.
I tend to be a little sympathetic. I don't have much sympathy for the COVID thing, though. That was obvious, and that annoyed me. People annoyed me during COVID a lot.
Yeah.
Like, that was like a slow-moving
There's still
car
people
wreck.
wearing masks, man.
I know.
You're gonna wear.
I know.
You're
It's
gonna wear
ridiculous.
a surgical mask to protect the person on the table, not yourself.
You're going to wear the surgical mask because it's a Nazi emblem. It shows what team you're on. That's it. It's just a swastika for your face. So, anyway.
I would say it's the opposite.
Gary.
Like, the Jews all had to wear David's star.
Star David. Well,
oh yeah.
I made that comparison way back that it was like the mask was like the Star of David.
The difference is, though, now with the people like putting it on their face willingly. You know what I mean? Like, back then, you could have made that argument, like when we were all forced to wear it, like as a Star of David type of thing. But now, these goobers, these goobers, they're doing it willingly to show what team they're on. That makes it a swastika.
It's a projection,
Yeah. So, it's to declare their intentions.
Fair point.
Yeah.
It has what you hate is what you become.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's see what this person says here. This is the Vigilant Fox, and this Twitter account reposted the Daily Pulse. So let's see what the Daily Pulse has to say.
And in social media groups. Maybe you've been living under a rock and have not heard of the Bilderberg Group. And even if you have heard of the Bilderberg Group, most people don't know much about them and what they do exactly. However, what we can tell you, on face value, is this is essentially a meeting of the minds of some of the world's most elite of the elite to get together annually, have a chat, discuss significant political, geopolitical, technological, financial, and military objectives, and it's all done in secret. This secretive group called the Bilderbergs actually has a website, and guess what? They have an FAQ page as well. On that FAQ page, there's a few key points here where they say, what criteria do I have to meet and what do I have to do to get an invitation? Oh, please note, there is no application process for joining the Bilderberg meetings. Participation is for invitees only. With such high caliber guests, why is there so little media coverage on Bilderberg? Oh, we don't seek any public attention, you see. An annual press conference on the eve of the meeting was held for several decades up until the 90s when people started reporting on it. But it was stopped due to lack of interest, they say. However, the list of participants, main topics, and the locations are always fully published. We'll go into that in a moment. Then it says, in today's information society, with so many of your participants regularly underscoring the importance of transparency in an open society, how can you justify imposing the Chatham House rule? Well, participants are, of course, free to discuss ideas expressed at the meeting in general terms, and many do so every year. However, as in many meetings across the world, participants agree not to quote each other. This is to ensure that all participants feel they can speak freely in an environment of trust. And then there's a question about why does it attract so many people criticizing it? Oh, Bilderberg meetings have often been the target.
See, here's the thing. I kind of understand that because our Constitutional Convention did that. There are circumstances where that kind of secrecy is appropriate. But when you add depopulation to your website, I don't really think secrecy is a good idea. Just throwing that out there.
Anti-globalization protests and various conspiracy theorists have expressed wild allegations about the purpose of the gatherings. While these claims lack any and all merit, we regret to see that many continue to flourish online and in social media groups. So there was a key admission there. When these elites get together to speak freely about the ways in which the world will be steered, they're speaking about things you're not allowed to know about. They take a vow of silence. Quite cultish, actually. What happens at Bilderberg stays at Bilderberg. And of course, there are, quote, conspiracy theories that spread about Bilderberg. Let's take a look at some of the main talking points of the meeting being held there this very week. From the website directly, 71st Bilderberg meeting will be discussing transatlantic relationship, Ukraine, the U.S. economy.
Yeah, we already read that, so. Guys, is there anything else you want to look up before we close this one out?
I don't think so, bro.
All right. Well, there you go.
Look at it.
Look at the LA riots. Try not to look at the LA riots. Look at Iran.
Look over here.
Yeah. No one's trying to kill you. Nobody with money's trying to kill you. It's all fine. Everything is fine. Trust your institutions. Trust the science. So
Trust the purple.
Trust the purple. So
Trust the evil.
Trust the evil. And on that chipper note, guys, if you're on the live stream, we've got one more segment left, so stay with us. If you are watching this after the fact, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.
Deuces.
One more to go.
What is it?
How many?
David Farrant, the Highgate Vampire.
I don't know who that is.
Is he a ferret?
He is not. So this is his account, or at least the one I could find.
Oh, is this the guy? Yes, when we talked about last week.
Yeah, remember we had Sean Manchester, the bishop, right?
Right.
And he was the guy that supposedly eventually found the vampire twice, figured out it was a satanic cult moving the thing around, killed it, and that was the end of the Highgate Vampire. Now, David Farrant has his own account of the story, and so we were going to compare the two.
That's right. Okay.
Hey, you guys want to handle this?
Yes.
Are you ready to rock?
I'm ready to rock.
I'm
you
out
want?
here.
Oh, you're gonna head out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you later.
Being here.
All right, I gotta switch all my windows again, but yes, that's fine.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, before you go, we need to talk about what to do since we've got 100 subs this week at some point.
You want to throw a pizza party, or
we could do a celebration?
I guess we could do a celebratory episode next week if we wanted.
All
but...
three of us be in one spot.
Yeah, there we go. But no,
That
we just
might be
need to.
difficult.
We need to have a meeting of our own that we'll sign a vow of silence for and all of that. So
call me tomorrow.
All right, I'll call you tomorrow, man. So
Call me tomorrow.
Sorry, I missed you.
Maybe we'll have a little meeting tomorrow.
Okay, that'll work. That'll work. All right, man. We'll see you later. Peace out. Okay. Let him get a minute to sign off here. There he goes. Maybe. We'll just leave it up till the window closes. Okay. All right, Trevor, do you want to lead us in for this last one?
You ready?
Give me just a sec. Now I'm ready.
Welcome to Faith Fiction and Folklore, or the Triad podcast, where we try not to F things up. And tonight we've got Gary. How are you?
I am all right. I'm glad that we're about done.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah.
And we're going to go back over basically what was this, be 2 or 3?
This will be part 2 of the Highgate. I guess technically part 3. I talked about it once several weeks back, but this is really part 2.
Part 2
Going
of the Highgate Vampire. We're going to compare and contrast David Farrant with
Sean Manchester.
Sean Manchester. So let's get into this.
All right, let us get into it. All right, here we go. Oh, that's loud. Why is everything always so loud?
Because we like it like that.
I guess. I should have checked this before. How long is this intro?
I like intros. Dracula.
Oh my goodness. It's a picture of Dracula. What are we going to do?
Dracula, blah, blah, blah.
Bleh.
I am David Farrant.
I don't go blah, blah, blah.
And over 20 years ago, I began an investigation into what was one of the most chilling accounts of vampirism in the 20th century. The case of the Highgate Vampire.
Apologies for the bad audio. I didn't remember so much background noise. Apparently this thing had production too, but a while back.
Events really began at Highgate Cemetery in late 1969. Local reports circulating about a tall, dark
Oh, there it goes. Man, that took a while.
In and around Highgate Cemetery.
Trevor? Yeah, okay, I'm still good. All right.
Yeah.
Shape.
Do you want me to listen?
Of a tall figure.
Make sure you're still good.
Yeah, you can. My stuff says I'm good, so I think I'm all right.
Apart from this, many people remarked on its eyes. One old lady that I interviewed personally in 1969, for example, was walking her dog up Swains Lane late at night.
Yeah, you sound good.
Great.
Suddenly, when she reached the main gate, the dog suddenly stopped and refused to go any further. It whined and it turned around and it tried to retreat. At this moment, the old lady looked up, and just inside the main gate, she described a tall, dark figure with glaring red eyes, which seemed to be floating towards her. Obviously, she didn't stay much longer than that, and she quickly went back down Swains Lane with her dog. She also told me that the surrounding area had turned icy cold. Then again, there was the case of a 45-year-old accountant who I referred to as Thornton because he asked for his correct name to be withheld. And he had gone into Highgate Cemetery at around this time, really just to look around. It was a late afternoon, and at that time, Highgate Cemetery was open to the public. Unfortunately, perhaps for Thornton, he became hopelessly lost, and he couldn't find
The bell actually made me
his way
jump.
back to the main
Oh, did it?
path. He was quite
Well, it's that ominous music that makes it like all creepy and stuff. So adds a ambiance, I suppose.
I like it.
Yeah, he's basically recounting the same stuff that we heard last week. The old lady and the count, like the shadow figure with the red eyes. So far, it's exactly the same.
Similar story.
Yeah, yeah.
quite near the large circle of tombs in the middle of the cemetery known as the Columbarium. And he heard the bell go, and so he thought the best thing to do was just to make his way towards the sound of the bell at the main gate and find his way out that way. All of a sudden, Thornton became aware.
This is what I mean by him being a showman, though, too. Like, this is obviously produced and not very well. So they obviously did this for some kind of marketing, but I kind of just want to hear their voice and the way they talk and, like, study their mannerisms, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't really care for this production because you make it all pretty and stuff. You don't really know how reliable the person is or isn't. It's not a cold interview.
Yeah, it's almost like he's just kind of copying what the other guy said.
He might very well be. I don't know. I know these two were rivals after a certain point. Like, they started out working together, and then they kind of had a bad falling out. That's about all I know regarding the situation. So, yeah. So these are like opposing accounts in a sense, but so far they're pretty well the same.
So the question is, which one is the ferret?
Which was the ferret? I would assume the guy that said whose name is Farrant.
Something behind him. At this stage, he didn't know exactly what it was, but he had an overwhelming
Let's get a different story here.
That someone was watching.
Finish this one first, though.
And again, he noticed that the temperature in the surrounding area had dropped quite considerably. He swung around, and he described a tall, dark figure, which was looking at him with intensity.
And I hate these artist renditions, too. I mean, that looks ridiculous.
I do like that one better than the other one, though.
Yeah, but the thing is, nobody described a skull. They all say shadow figure with red eyes. Nobody describes teeth. Nobody describes the skull. Nobody describes the Reaper-like garment. In fact, the only description I have heard of a shadowy figure is a guy with a top hat. So this isn't, strictly speaking, accurate from what I've seen from other videos. So
interesting.
I don't really care for these artist renderings. So
maybe that's all they could come up with on AI.
Yeah, in the 70s. or whenever this was. It seems like it's from the 70s. Sounds like it's from the 70s, but anyway.
Well, I mean, they had that 70s show in the 70s.
Well, look at that collar. That collar screams 70s.
Yeah.
Good night. That's worse than my...
Ferret.
How does it scream ferret?
I don't know.
Yeah, man, that collar's worse than mine. Good grief.
We should do a collar podcast where we try and wear the highest collar.
Yeah. Well, I would win. I mean, obviously, my shirts don't cooperate at all. So. Oh man.
He told me that it was almost as if this figure was trying to hypnotize him. In any event, he seemed to be losing control of his normal faculties. At this point, without warning, the figure suddenly vanished.
Okay, so this is something I'm going to point out. Yeah, this figure suddenly vanished. Me and Cody were talking earlier when we were trying to kind of decipher body language and stuff. We're referring to Brandon Biggs and whether or not he's believable and all this. Well, one of the key indicators... We've also talked about this with Kash Patel and Bongino, too. Like, one of the tells is look at the eyes. They're tilted upward. You notice Kash Patel had the same thing. Look how wide the eyes are. And then he licked his lips a moment ago. Those are all signs of anxiety. Now, anxiety by itself doesn't mean that the person is lying, and that's where people make the mistake. They assume, just because you can detect an emotion that you can infer the motive, but you can't. But it does mean he's nervous. Maybe he's just nervous because he's in front of a camera, but that's not from what I understand about this guy. From what I understand, this guy was a showman, so...
He should not be nervous
Yeah, he shouldn't be nervous. So there's a good chance this dude's lying. Or at least reciting what Manchester said.
Well, I mean, I've been in front of a camera for a while now, and I still get nervous.
Yeah, but you don't have your eyebrows tilted all the way up. I mean, look, that does that look like a man who's comfortable? That picture right there, that frozen frame?
It looks like he's sitting on something that he didn't want us to be sitting on.
Yeah, he looks uncomfortable. Now, it could literally be just that. That's the thing. He could literally just be sitting on an uncomfortable stool. It doesn't necessarily mean he's lying, but, you've got anxiety here, so it's just interesting, Not that I'm an expert in body language. It's, all very, just one layman's opinion. Oh, there's lots of experts on YouTube. Yeah, you can go look up lots of
one of them.
Yeah, they're very informative. I have been subject to the subject of body language since a wee lad because my dad listened to all those business tapes, and they go through all these courses on body language ad nauseum in those tapes, and there's hours of it.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, and then I read a book on it once as well, but yeah, so...
You book reader.
I guess technically I read a lot of books on it if you count those Nightingale Conant tapes, because those were technically books. Anyway. Yeah, I'm nerding out. Bottom line is, I'm not an expert, but I've had a layman's interest in it since a wee lad. So I find that telling of anxiety, but you can't tell what the anxiety is actually about. But
maybe we should ask him.
Yeah, I'm sure I don't even think he's still alive now. I don't know. Anyway, we can look it up, but anyway, yeah. So
moving on.
Got to tell there. So anyway.
Thornton stumbled around in the cemetery, and eventually he found the main path.
Another little thing, just I don't know if you noticed, but he shook his head briefly, even though he was saying an affirmative statement. That's another indicator.
No.
Yeah, sometimes that's an indicator of a lie. So anyway.
Yep. And sorry. My phone keeps going, this is too much work for me.
Phone's upset? I gotcha.
I'm on hotspot, so it's like...
Okay. What do you do? Where are you at right now? You at home?
No, my wife's best friend here in Arkansas had a birthday party.
Oh, gotcha.
And so I was like, well, I'll just jump on the chat after dinner and we'll call it good. And I was like, well, I need a spot. And anyways, I didn't realize dinner was not going to be until like 9:30.
Don't you hate it when that happens?
Well, dude was like, I'm gonna grill, and then he went to grab his charcoal and empty charcoal, so we had to run and get charcoal. And then we had to run and do a beer run, and then we had to do this, and it was almost 9:30 before we even got started eating. So,
You had a long day then.
yeah.
Well, I appreciate you being here. So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He never returned. These were just two cases of people who had actually witnessed the Highgate Vampire firsthand, and interestingly enough, both described the figure's eyes. They were hypnotic, and it's almost as if the figure was actually trying to cause harm to the people that it confronted.
I know why he's raising his eyebrows.
What?
I know why he's raising his eyebrows.
Why is that?
He's trying to sell a story.
You think so?
Yeah, some people will do that when they're trying to sell you the story. You know, they're telling it very dramatically.
They're trying
to throw their eyebrows up.
Yeah, like they're trying to look earnest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotcha. So, yeah, but we've had those little... Like, that's really... Okay, again, not an expert, but from what I understand, what you're looking for in a lie specifically is that incontinuity. Like, so you've got the eye... Like, because I'm indicating the eyebrows up thing is, like, anxiety. But I do think you're right, though, because if you looked, he did the hand thing. He's leaning forward doing this, but he's still shaking his head. You know what I mean? So that kind of incongruity, that's the theory anyway, when you have those inconsistent body language signs taken together. But again, you also have to bear in mind, this is the interesting thing about it, is like you have to actually like watch the person in another context. Like you can't just see one video of them and assume that they're lying. That's the other thing. Like you have to have other footage of the guy to compare it with, which is why it's very obvious Cash and Dan are flipping lying, because we have lots of footage of them and we know what they're like when they're telling the truth. And so when you see them with one type of body language and then a completely different type of body language, that's how you know. It's the contrast that clues you to what they're doing. If you don't know the person, you can't really read it.
Yeah, and as far as Cash and Don, that one guy that goes through and actually looks at their body language on YouTube, he does a whole show on it. And before they start talking about Epstein, they're fine.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as they start talking about Epstein, they start having issues.
Yep.
Like the moment she asks that question.
Yep. They are clearly lying, and we are not going to let it go. Still waiting on that tape, Dan. Anyway.
The truth will set you free.
Thing with many unexplained phenomena, because they don't usually try and harm their human counterparts. Not so with the case of the Highgate Vampire. Well, naturally, I became intrigued by all these reports, and there were others. There were others too. And I decided to visit the cemetery one night. My main intention being to look around, to try and find some logical explanation for what had been seen. I didn't really know what I was looking for. I suspected it could have been maybe a large animal which descriptions had distorted. I even suspected that it could...
Can I point this out? To be fair, I don't know why I suddenly felt this, but this is just an intuition that ran through my gut a second ago.
There's someone behind you.
No. He suddenly became much more earnest. He became much more believable. Did you see that turn? Did you notice that shift?
Yeah.
Like, it was like when he said, so I naturally became interested. That's when it shifted. I don't know why, I just
because
kind
now he's going over account that he actually was there.
of
He showed his actual person.
yeah, maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's what it was. Okay, well,
Been some very human person dressed up with the intention of frightening people. Whatever. It was around midnight, late in 69.
Right.
And as I passed the top gate of Highgate Cemetery, I became aware. I caught sight of something out of the corner.
now notice this. I don't know why I'm talking. I know nothing. I'm like not an expert on body language. I don't know why I'm bothering to talk about this tonight, but I guess I'm going to.
Because we want to.
Yeah, because we want to, and I don't know how else to measure whether or not this guy's lying. Notice how his eyebrows dropped. See how his whole face has changed?
Yeah, he's changed. He's not
leaning
trying
forward.
to convince us anymore.
Yeah, he's leaning forward. There's color, like his chin is down, which means the light's changed. Yeah, so, and his eyes just got a lot smaller. Like he lowered his eyebrows. You see that? I just find that fascinating. I mean, I don't know if I'm right or not, but I just find that fascinating that his whole expression just changed right there.
Yeah, he relaxed.
Mm-hmm, he did. He relaxed.
Crazy.
My eye. And I looked up, or rather I looked around, and I
You
saw
looked
a
around.
tall figure. It must have been about 7 feet tall.
See, now we got back to the line body. And the eyebrows are up again.
Why would he lie about someone being 7 feet? There's people that are 7 feet all the time.
I don't know. He may not be lying. I mean, we're just going off the body language thing here, and I'm saying those are indications of anxiety. Not, I mean, decide for yourself what it means. But yeah, it changed again. Although his eyes are still down, but his eyebrows are back up. So I don't know.
I couldn't tell, but it's almost as if it was floating just above the ground. But I distinctly saw its face. Or rather, I saw 2
That's your face, dude.
points of intense red light, which I took to be its eyes. At first,
Okay.
it was so real that at first I thought it was somebody dressed up as a vampire. But the area turned icy cold.
Now, see, he, again, that's why I don't like the illustration, because what did he say? I felt like it was, assuming he's telling the truth, he said, I felt like it was somebody dressed up like a vampire. So it couldn't have been a ghoul reaper thing. Had to be like a dude, but the dude had like no feet or something. Because what would make you think someone's dressed like a vampire? A suit, maybe a cape, something like that. You know, like if you're looking at the cartoon cliche 70s version.
Well, he probably went blah, blah, blah.
He went blah, blah, blah.
Sorry.
It was almost as if
We watched
into
Adam Sandler's cartoon movie, The Vampire, where Adam Sandler's the vampire and he's got all his buddies. What's that movie called? Dadgummit.
Hotel Transylvania?
That one.
Yeah.
He's like, I do not go blah, blah, blah. So that's stuck in my head. I'm sorry.
That's funny.
refrigerator. More important still, the figure, or whatever it was, seemed to be draining me of energy. I too seemed to be losing control of my normal faculties. The best way I can describe it is if I was living a vivid dream and I wanted to wake up but I could not. Realizing I was under intense psychic attack, I mentally repeated a Kabbalistic incantation, which is used to repel potent evil forces. And just as suddenly as it disappeared, the figure was no longer there.
Cody's got some comments. He says, "Was he on meth at the time by chance? He looks like more of a DMT guy, but he probably did some meth before this. LOL." I don't know, man. It keeps going back and forth. Like it's like he believes parts of it, and then there's other parts where he like backs off and goes, "Oh, I don't know," you know. So yeah, it's just kind of, I don't know. I feel like it was just weird. Yeah, I don't know. It's like when he said, "Realized that I was probably under psychic attack." Like he leans forward when he says that line, and then he like leans back, and his eyebrows go up as he goes, "I recited this." I think he said cabinistic incantation. I don't know. It's like the first part was he believed, and the second part he didn't. Bottom line is, I can't tell if the dude's lying or not. He's giving signals for both. What do you think, Trevor?
I agree with you. He's got anxiety, and then he's fine. And I think part of it is true. He was actually walking by that area, and because he already had it in his head, he might have been suffering from that one long word. What's it called? Where you project what you're thinking, and so you see it.
He hallucinated?
No, not hallucination. There's a word for it. It's kind of like hallucinating, but it's a different word.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it could be that he was on something, maybe, and saw something he's not sure is real. That might explain it.
Well, you know, like if you're laying in bed and you have already been, like, maybe you saw a scary movie or something, so your thoughts project whatever that scary movie was. Let's say you watched Tremors. Okay, you got the worms that bust out of the ground, and you got a pile of laundry sitting in the back of your room.
Yeah.
And then, so your mind projects that.
It's kind of like Matrix scene where you think you see a face when you don't see a face. Cody's saying schizophrenia. So, there's that.
Well,
there's always schizophrenia.
I'm schizophrenic sometimes.
We had a whole episode on that. You should have been there for it. Like, well, on SSRIs anyway. So, yeah.
I missed it.
You did.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. No big. No big.
It was after my sighting of the figure that I decided that the reports were indeed true. And we decided, that is, members of the British Psychic and Occult Society, decided to launch a full-scale investigation to try and find out what the phenomena was.
Honestly, in my opinion, looking at him, it looks like he's almost reading something, like a teleprompter almost.
That could be it, because there are a lot of weird pauses that don't make any sense. It's like he's trying to figure out the words. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
That would make the most sense. And that's why I don't like this highly produced stuff. I wish I had found a better one. Maybe there is one out there, but... Oh, we got an interesting comment here. Let's read this really quick. 19 years ago, my friends and I decided that we were going to hunt the Highgate Vampire over the course of a week. The first night, we jumped the fence and had a wonder. We were walking through an area full of overgrown brambles where we came face to face with a... Oh, this is a long one. With a statue of the Virgin Mary holding a fresh red rose. Half the group decided that was enough, and we started to make our way back. All of a sudden, we heard screaming all around us, coming from every direction, and we all ran as fast as we could and left. The second night, only half of us came out. This time, we were heading into the west side. This time, we were surrounded by cats. Whatever way we went to walk, cats would block our path and do figure of 8 motions around our legs. A couple more people lost their nerve and decided to head back, which was the only way the cats weren't blocking. The third night, was just myself and one other friend. Again, we hopped the fence and went deeper than we had been before. Both of us felt like we were being watched, and we both felt like we could hear growling coming from the bushes as we walked along. My friend screamed and yelled at me to run, and by the look of his face, I knew he wasn't messing around. We left the graveyard, and he told me what he saw. 2 red glowing eyes in the bush about a foot above me. I don't know if he was telling the truth, but that was the last time we went hunting for the vampire. Dun, dun, dun. Indeed. And Cody says...
I would watch that.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's that.
What did Cody say?
Cody says, we're all a little schizo sometimes. Just got to accept it and grow from it each time. And there you go. Well, I don't know if that is a true story or not, Trevor, but I find Sean Manchester a little more believable than this fella, but that's just me. It's hard to tell, again, because the production value kind of ruins how accurate you can actually read what the dude's saying.
Yeah.
And Cody was like, bro, that was a crazy story. Indeed it was.
Thank you.
Yeah. So if you are interested in learning more about the Highgate Vampire or just watching the entire interview, the interview is David Farrant in Search of the Highgate Vampire. It is on David Farrant's YouTube channel. It was posted 13 years ago. This person says David Farrant passed away this month. So this would have been a month or 6 years ago.
6 years ago.
Yeah, this month. He was in his 70s. Rest in peace. And there you go.
Rest in peace.
Well, guys, I think that's going to cover it for this evening. And Trevor, do you have any final thoughts, sir?
Did we do our whole 30 minutes?
We are 25 minutes in, I think.
That's close enough.
Close enough? Yeah, I think so, too. I think we've given the general idea, and I'm sure he's got more things that people would like to see in the future. So,
probably.
All right. If you want us to continue looking into this story, let us know in the comments, and please subscribe if you are so inclined, because we're just at the 100 subscriber mark, and we'd like to keep going. We'd hate to stall out here.
Heck yeah.
So
we'll probably do a celebratory episode at one point.
Yeah, we'll do a celebratory episode at one point, and on to 1,000, however long that takes.
No. 200.
200. Oh, baby steps.
Simple.
Baby steps. Okay.
Baby steps.
All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time.
Peace. Deuces.